This is S4. Sit back, relax, and keep your eyes to the skies.
Flavored coffee. Greetings, folks, and welcome to S4. We talk about the serious issues involving paranormal and current events. Oh, God, I always screw this up. Coming to you live from the S4 headquarters in the heart of the Cascade Mountains, in the studio in Cape Horn, Washington. So tonight, it's April 4th. Happy Easter, everyone. We here at S4 hope the Easter Bunny was good to you. Tonight, we're talking alien first encounter. Is it going to be peaceful or an alien invasion? And how do you prepare and react?
We're all gonna die.
No, not with pointy sticks. We got pointy sticks. So, first off, Tim, your birthday was yesterday. We got to sing happy birthday to you because we missed it because our show was on Sundays and your birthday was on Saturday. And today was Easter Bunny Day. So anyway, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tim. Happy birthday to you. And many more here on S4. Anyway. All right, so how are we doing tonight, guys?
Most excellent.
They are, maybe.
Nope, not tonight.
I doubt it, though. June 1st is when the Pentagon is supposed to release all these 11 billion files, and I have no idea how to access them. Do you, Barry? Excellent, thank you.
www.pentagon.com.
And, thank you for being in the chat, Tim and Dennis. You guys are our faithful listeners that always are. You're here every week. So, I want to start the show off. So, the first hour is going to be, how do we even know there's aliens?
Dude, we started 4 minutes ago. Where you been?
What? What are you talking about?
You already started the show.
I know.
You're getting old.
I am.
Fuck.
But but wait, at least I'm not falling out of, an airplane. Anyway. I had to say it. Because how many times has it been now? So, a couple, 3 weeks ago, we actually talked about MJ12 and Blue Book. And that started in the 50s and 60s with Blue Book ending in 69. Now, on the flip side of that, they were looking at what UFOs were. Now, in the 60s is when SETI actually started, which is a search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And they started looking for the signal. Do you guys see a parallel there?
Aliens.
Don't
signal.
you kind of think that's funny that about the same time...
I see
right?
Kind of a retarded thing.
What's that?
Well, they're sitting there saying, what are these? Well, they're unidentified flying objects.
Right.
We're not going to know because they were unidentified.
Well, I just think it's weird how, and I didn't realize the SETI that went back all the way to the 60s. I really didn't. I thought SETI was, maybe an 80s type deal. But no, it actually started in the 60s around the same time as, MJ12 and Blue Book and all of them were going on. So while the government's trying to figure out what these flying discs are, you've got the other ones going, wow. And, that was a signal with the guy said it was 72 seconds long. It came from the constellation Sagittarius and happened in 1977. And the guy that actually was reading the report wrote "wow," which is why it was called the wow signal. And what were you going to say, Joe? You're going to talk smack about the SETI director. What's his name?
It's not smack if it's true.
Yeah. That don't. Right. Mm-hmm. Unmute.
Everybody's unmuted. Why is it unmuted?
Okay.
Hold on. Fuck.
What?
I don't know. Skype again, probably. My computer restarted. Sorry, guys.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are we still?
Every freaking time. Yeah, it's on the speakers. No, you're on. Hey, say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Not you.
Driving in the truck.
Now you're on. I'm sorry, guys. So, yeah, let's start the show now. Okay.
Oh, that sucks. So Tim only heard us singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sorry, Tim. You know, the whole crew was singing to you. So, yeah, on the flip side of that, Joe, I think I'd want a debunker to maybe look at signals in a more skeptical light. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I enjoy somebody that has a head on their shoulders that says, well, this doesn't make sense, or that didn't make sense, or that looks fake.
Right.
But for somebody to just blatantly, every time he gets on TV, say, aliens aren't here, they don't exist, there's no proof. Well, come on, man. I think we all know that there's some kind of proof. People are seeing something.
Right. So he's another Curtis Feeble.
It's kind of
so
odd.
he's up there saying, I've never seen one, so they don't exist.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Then that's a little.
I don't like that.
That's the extreme skeptic, and we don't need those for damn sure. So
I mean, I enjoy somebody who's going to look at a signal and say, well, that might have been an errant signal that bounced from Earth, that bounced off the moon, or maybe it's some satellite we didn't pick up, or or it could be something natural. I mean, they say that they just picked up, I believe, Uranus. Make a joke now. Is emanating radio waves or X-rays, I believe. One of those. They just detected it. So that's a natural form of energy that's coming toward us. For a long time, we thought quasars were a radio signal from deep space. We found out, no, it's just a star.
Okay.
Just a star that's rotating really fast.
And yes, Dennis, that's the SETI director. His name is Seth Schobeck or something.
Showstack.
Yeah, there you go.
Showstack.
Yes.
There you go. And yeah, I'm right there with you.
I appreciate that they're looking. I like the fact that they're looking.
So once SETI started their SETI at Home project, which was when they got anyone who wanted to jump into it, they sent you the software, you hooked it up into your own computer, and it actually expanded their network. They had 5 billion signals through that SETI at Home project. Now, yeah, sure, maybe 10, 20, maybe higher % of those was probably something, a signal that bounced from Earth. But even if you had 10% of those that were actual signals, that's 10% of 5 billion. I mean, come on. That's a lot of signals that could be, aliens communicating, shooting a signal back to us, whatever the case. So the protocol was SETI. SETI hears a signal. The next step in that, the team that heard it validates it. They try to reenact it. They watch how long the signal was. They try to figure out where it came from, what constellation, yada, yada, yada. Once they've done that, they alert all parties to its discovery. Now, I don't know what parties specifically they're going to, I don't know if they're going to call the White House or if they're going to call the British Parliament or and say, hey, we have a signal that's strong and but they do have the Central Bureau of Astronomical Telegram. Have you guys ever heard of that one?
No.
Telegram,
yeah. Ooh.
So the CBAT, or the Central Bureau for Astronomical Telegram, collects and distributes information on comets, natural satellites, nova, supernova, and other transient astronomical events. They also establish priority for discovery, who gets credit for it, and assigns initial designations. Once they've done that, then they contact the expert observers. So there was a I didn't write this in my notes, but there was a very strong signal that was detected, I believe, 2000-something from Australia. So if you want to correlate, I would contact Australia, and I go from different points of the planet and have them all shoot their telescopes or their antennas at the same spot and see if they can all pick up the same signal. And finally,
Australia's on the other side, so they're going to hear things that we can't even point at.
Possibly. But their final step is to contact, I found this interesting, they contact the UN Secretary General.
Interesting.
Now, why? Does anybody have an answer
Well, I'll
for
say
that?
what we're all thinking. We all think the United Nations is worthless.
Right. But they do have the alien ambassador that they've designated in the UN. Do they not?
I want that job.
Oh, yeah.
I want that job so bad.
And I can't remember her name, but there's a woman that the UN's designated as the alien planetary ambassador, whatever. And I'd be curious what they do on a day-to-day basis.
They wait for the signal.
And they get paid for it.
Uh-huh.
I want that job.
I can
What are her
handle just
qualifications?
chilling, waiting for a signal.
I don't know. That's where my... what do you have to do to get that job?
She probably has a degree in communications.
I would hope she has some kind of degree. So this follows up with the Rio scale. And I found this interesting. So the Rio scale, the concept was first proposed in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, hence its name, by Ivan Almar and Jill Charter, in a paper presented to the 51st International Astronautical Congress, 29th Review Meeting on the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, in October of 2000, under their leadership, members of the IAA SETI Committee and its successor, the IAA SETI Permanent Committee, officially adopted the Rio scale in 2002. And where's this music coming from? The aliens are beaming music down to us. That's what it is.
I can hear music. It ain't me.
Ain't me.
Ain't
Not
me either.
me.
I think isn't it the same music that they played for the aliens and the Mars attacks?
Slim Whitman.
Great, you start talking about SETI and we get this.
So, to remember the Rio scale, think of the Richter scale. So the Richter scale, while it determines the urgency of earthquakes and the severity of an earthquake, the Rio scale does the same thing on a SETI signal base. So it determines where that goes.
Yeah.
So the Rio scale determines the impact this specific signal is going to have on our economy, on the culture, on...
That's all subjective, though. You know, a Richter scale, you can measure it. It's a measurement.
Right.
You can't say, oh, that's not a 4.3, it's a 3.8. No, it's a measurement.
Right.
The Rio scale is going to be, well, what's it going to do? I don't know. It's going to affect our... No, it's all guesswork.
And I'm about to read off the Rio scale calculator. So first is class select of the phenomenon. So is it Earth-specific message or an ET artifact capable of contact or physical encounter? Is it omnidirectional message with decipherable information or a functioning ET artifact or a space probe? Then there's Earth-specific beacon to draw our attention or an ET artifact with a message to mankind. Is it omnidirectional beacon designed to draw attention or an ET artifact with a message or a general character? Is there leakage radiation without possible interpretation or an ET artifact, the purpose of which is understandable? Now, when they say ET artifact, I think of Moa.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could see that.
You think of what?
The Moa.
Moa.
Oh, Moa.
Yep.
Well, it didn't broadcast anything.
No, it didn't.
It just flew through.
But it wasn't the same shape as a normal comet. It didn't move like a comet. It moved under its own power, other than it had a solar sail. So I would definitely label that an ET artifact, potentially.
So that's like their version of the Curiosity rover?
All we know is that it came from deep space.
Right. And it turned around.
You know, comets and meteors, they're in the same plane that, all the planets go around. This thing came from, like, if you're holding a Frisbee in your hand, it came from the top.
Right.
It came from way deep space, so it's not from here.
No.
So
I would call that an ET artifact, though.
It's not terrestrial, so it could be extraterrestrial. Yeah, there you go. I have a problem with one of the parts of that scale.
Well,
they're trying to determine whether it's Earth-centric. In other words, was it beamed directly at Earth?
Right.
Well, how would we know that unless we had another detector, out on Mars that could confirm that it's not being beamed at Mars and only being beamed at Earth? But we don't have something like that.
No.
All we have is detectors on Earth.
But there's 4, so you have to hear the whole thing, because there's 4 parts to this calculator. The last one of the select class of phenomenon is traces of astral engineering or any indication of technological activity by an extant or extinct civilization at any distance or an ET artifact, the purpose of which is unknown. So that falls under select class of phenomenon. The second one is select type of discovery. So under this they have SETI observation, steady phenomena verifiable by repeated observation or investigation. Then they have non-SETI observation, steady phenomena verifiable by repeated observation or investigation. They have SETI observation, transient phenomenon that has been verified but never repeated. Non-SETI observation, transient phenomena that's reliable but never repeated. And then they have, from archival data, I'm going to butcher this word, posteriori discovery without possibility of verification. The next part, select apparent distance within the solar system, within a distance which allows communication at light speed within a human lifetime, within the galaxy, or extragalactic. The last part is select credibility of the report, which is absolutely reliable without any doubt, very probable with verification already carried out, possible but should be verified before taken seriously, very uncertain but worthy of verification efforts, or obviously fake or fraudulent. So when they...
See, for me, I think all of them would fall into that fake or fraudulent as far as they were concerned, though.
So like you take the WOW signal, we'll use that for an example for tonight. Mm-hmm. It was 72 seconds long, They knew exactly which, they could pinpoint exactly which constellation it came from. It came from Sagittarius constellation. And, even the team that identified it said, wow. So you take that, you take this, half of that, there was no ET artifact, obviously. So are you going to tell the world that, hey, we have a wow signal? I don't think they ever really did. And
no.
You take this entire scale, and do you really think the general public's going to hear about it?
Nope.
No, absolutely not. Because they take this whole scale here, and it's going to dictate what's going to happen if we tell the world that we actually have aliens communicating back with us. And, we've talked about this on the show before. Do you think it caused mass chaos?
No. I personally don't.
They do.
Okay, so I think it might have before. I don't think it would right now. If we came out right now and we said, yes, we have a signal, yes, aliens are contacting us, you'd have a subset of people that would definitely be like, it's the end of the world. But I think for most people, they'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
And then,
the Navy released those videos of what they say are unknown aircraft, which are basically UFOs, and everyone went, "Yep, so what? COVID,
Well, no, not even just that, but and I've said this so many times on the show, but even the Pentagon came out last year in July and said, "Hey, we actually have an off-world craft," and again, not even the ufologists flinched.
Nobody cared.
I know, nobody cared because of the COVID.
Yep. So, I'm not even going to go there.
Go there.
No. Because I know, hands down, there's a virus. Now, was it actually superimposed? Was it exaggerated a little bit? I think so. But I do know there's a virus because I know enough people that have lost loved ones and whatnot. So I'm not going to downplay.
No one's saying there isn't a virus.
No, that's why I'm not going to downplay COVID. But do you think COVID was used politically?
Not at all.
No,
I think not for this. Honestly, if it wasn't COVID, it would have been something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a reason no one cares. It doesn't directly affect them.
Exactly.
Until we actually have craft seen in the skies coming down.
But they don't have to right now.
And that's the thing is, even if they see them in the skies, it doesn't directly affect them. It only affects them if they're coming down and beaming them up or shooting them.
You know what? But you know what's stupid is y'all remember 2012. Mm-hmm.
Vaguely.
There was no sign that it was going to be the end of the world, other than the fact that the Mayans declared it.
Mm-hmm.
But you had people that went out and stocked up. You had people that actually quit their jobs. I mean, and this was in reports all over the place. They quit their jobs. They stopped paying their bills because, hey, it's the end of the world.
Well, we know that the Mayans were dyslexic and they meant 2021.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 2012. The people were in an uproar in 2012.
Yeah.
Over a Mayan prediction. Over people.
They were bored. There was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It was a fun thing.
So how come they don't? You take 2012 and you compare it to the Pentagon saying, "Hey, yeah, we actually have alien craft and we're getting signals from space." Mm-hmm. It's kind of almost indirectly, but the same category.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, throughout history, people have overreacted about things. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, everything from the witchcraft trials and everything else. Okay? People have overreacted about something that they don't understand forever.
Right.
So, maybe we just got better at reacting to it, or we finally are just like, who the hell cares? Who cares? Because you know what? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. You know, like maybe we've gotten to that point where we're like, what else could possibly go wrong? Let's just bring it.
And then the murder hornets came.
So,
If A happens, so what? If B happens, so what? The bottom line is, still got to go to work and pay taxes, right?
Right.
Still got to feed your family.
I just look at the similarities of Into the World. I mean, okay, Alien. The fact that we have signals and there is proof of aliens through the Pentagon. Maybe most of the culture has gotten to the point where aliens aren't the end of the world anymore.
I don't even think
well, if you think about it, we've had
the end of the world anymore.
We've had what 30 years almost of Ancient Aliens being on History Channel every night, and 100 other shows just like it. I think there's a lot of people out there that are saying, you know what? Yeah, there probably are aliens, and if there were aliens, they probably still are aliens.
Right.
They're not affecting us right now, but if they do show up, you know what? They could have come and invaded us 100 years ago when the major form of transportation was a horse. Why would they wait until we had fighter aircraft and atom bombs? I don't think they're going to invade us.
So do you?
Or maybe the aliens are stupid. I don't know.
So, on that take, do you think all these UFO shows and talk about them has what's the word I'm looking for?
Desensitized?
Yeah, desensitized the
soft
culture
disclosure
to UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's soft disclosure.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's like when you see something over and over and over again on the news, anything, and people just like, yep, true.
Okay,
you know,
that's happening. Yep.
Yep.
Well, and I mean, so I've always kind of lived by the thing of, like, if something horrible is going to happen, it's going to happen.
Right.
There's not much you can do to stop it from happening, like certain natural disasters and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if the Cascadia line decided to pop off a 10.0 earthquake right now, what am I going to do? I'm going to sit here and go, well, damn. You know what I mean?
You're going to stop it, and if you don't, I'm going to be upset.
But I think people have gotten to the point now where they're like, well, if they do invade us, what the hell can we do about it? We can say, hello, new overlord. Like, there's not much we can do.
Or it's almost like there's been so much stuff has happened to people. They were going, oh, great, what's next? Great, yay.
Right.
So what's your thoughts, Barry? Yep. You're awful quiet over there.
Well, you know, I think SETI has a thing. Unfortunately, since it went away from the government and they're trying to, and they went to their own type thing. I don't think that they are. You know, I was just reading an article, and I was looking for an article, as I mentioned before the show, that they had a new signal, and you know, a possible alien signal received from space, and this was on 2020, December 20th of 2020, and a recent report from The Guardian, a group of researchers just have received a radio signal from space. The Breakthrough Listening Project, whatever that is an organization of scientists dedicated to researching the existence of alien life in the universe with sophisticated equipment.
Right.
So they're using radio telescopes, and their search has just possibly confirmed, because they discovered a radio signal that hasn't been rivaled for possibly originating from alien technology since the WOW signal in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm reading that, and it looks like they are trying to communicate us, and they actually sent back a beam signal, a radio signal, to see if they could communicate with them. And nothing has been heard yet, but this signal is a breakthrough, I guess, in what has happened. So I guess we need to look at more into this group here and to see what they're doing, this Breakthrough Listening Project. So I don't know if SETI's the one. And the other thing about it is half the stuff it is with the government, as we've discussed in the past, has been hidden from us. You know, if what we know about the Space Force, all right.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, how are they communicating to Earth? I mean, it's not SETI picking up those signals. I mean, come on.
And real quick, Sherry, actually, Sherry, we're going to be answering your question later on in the show because that's part of the topic tonight. You know, and I think.
Hold on, before you go any further.
What?
I don't really mind if they want to set up listening posts to see if we can hear something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's a really dumb idea to start beaming stuff back and try to communicate. We don't know who's on the other end of that line.
Get in my head, Joe. I was just about to talk about Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking actually came out and said...
He said don't do it.
He said don't do
it.
it. But
exactly. And how many warnings do you need? I mean...
But Stephen Hawking changed his tune towards the end of his life. He finally came out and actually said, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's a good idea.
He didn't care. He was going to die.
Right?
Yeah. He wasn't going to be here. He wouldn't have to live through it.
Exactly.
Go ahead, dummies.
You're absolutely right, Joe. Is it really a smart thing to say, hey, we're over here? And here you have a predatory race.
Well, that's what I thought about putting the damn golden tablet on that thing. And
God!
I went, okay, so we're going to explain all of human anatomy.
Yep.
Where we're located.
Oh no, they wanted
all of our downfalls.
They wanted to go beyond that. They actually wanted to send out new information and say, this is how the human body functions.
That's what I'm saying. Let's shoot this shit into space and expect somebody not to go.
Here's the easiest way to kill us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look, here's where the muscle groups are. That's probably the best chicken tasting meat you'll ever have. So you
right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We taste like chicken.
Do you know those little... So do you know those posters where we have the cows and we have them all sliced up and it says, this is this roast, this is that roast. This is exactly what we send into space for the aliens.
Yep.
All right,
and now you've got some reptilian race going... Yep, the orcs didn't taste that good. But hey, there's this little blue planet down here called Earth, and they actually sent us a diagram of what parts to eat.
Let's go check out the
We basically sent out a menu.
Yep. Absolutely. Complete with a list of the insects here, the mammals here. So yeah, if they don't like us, they can try a Bigfoot. Or a deer. Or there you go. Take your pick. Smorgasbord.
We haven't put music on there for them to eat. To listen to as they're eating us.
Yeah.
You know.
Get over here. Yeah.
And we annoyed them enough with the sound of a baby crying that they're totally fine with doing it. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's...
Sending out signals indicating where we are, I agree. It's not the smartest thing the human race, but we were talking about that earlier.
It goes all back to, it even goes to different things that's happened around us. And I don't mean to get off the subject a little bit, but I got to because, I mean, who is the truth? I mean, who do they go to? Who does CERN go to say, well, we're going to try the Big Bang Theory. We may destroy Earth, but hey, we'll know exactly what happened.
They never tell us.
I mean, isn't there some group of people that would like to know? I mean, that we're going to destroy the Earth. I mean, me as one would say, I don't think that's a bright idea, boys.
Right. But what kind of governing panel will they go to? And it'd be just like SETI. SETI's privatized now. They don't answer to anybody. Maybe the UN ambassador of alien civilization or whatever, whoever the hell that woman is. But
maybe they go to the Galaxy Foundation of, the Alien Foundation. Who knows? I mean, maybe
Rothschilds. Come on,
right.
Yeah,
that's where they go.
I mean. You got to remember, they are looking to totally annihilate us and reduce the population. What a better way to do it.
The Rothschilds would never allow them to do it.
No.
You really think the Rothschilds want to look for something that's more powerful than them?
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Okay, so here's the other thing.
It all depends if they bought them off yet or not.
Right. Aliens paid
that's
in
the way I
rubles.
look at it.
All right, and how do we know that we aren't declaring war on somebody accidentally? Okay, so like,
yeah.
like for instance, we sent out that golden tablet, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say a civilization does see it. They turn on the music that's on it, and because of the way their anatomy works, it blows up their eardrums and kills them. Okay,
I wasn't even going by that. I was going by, okay, so we beam up a civilization up there answers, and a warring civilization goes, oh, that's where you assholes were. Boom.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, you know? So how is this? How is this not? How do we know that we're not declaring war on somebody accidentally? Or how do we know we're not sending something into outer space, outer regions of space that is going to have an adverse effect on their culture?
Oh, and Dennis brings up a good point, too. If I'm reading his question right, they pick up our signal, they send us a virus.
No, I think
exactly.
We release a virus to them, causing war.
Yeah.
Oh, and that could be too. But I don't think you can send a virus.
Or like in the movie Mars Attacks, they show up, we release doves. That's an act of war.
Oh, sure you can. You could send a computer virus really easy.
Oh, well, computer virus, yeah.
Or something that just wasn't compatible with their programs, which created a virus in their computing systems.
Every signal we send out has the possibility of taking a Trojan with it.
Mm-hmm. True.
True.
And do we even know allergies or alleged aliens are even immune to us? And, you know, War of the Worlds is a perfect example of that.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah. I mean,
our smallest inhabitants took care of them.
Well, I mean, look at Signs. Signs, too. They threw water on them and they were, like, dying.
Oh, I love Signs. I haven't watched that in years.
Well, the reason why we're doing this show today is because we had a prophetic vision that this was going to happen. So they're all parked out there waiting for this show so that we can give people advice, and then we can.
Right? And tomorrow they're going to come on down.
No, that's 2 weeks from now.
Huh?
Nothing.
So make sure you archive this one, folks.
So let's jump to the next topic and talk about society's reaction. Can humans handle the announcement of aliens? And let's pick that apart. So we all saw it on Independence Day. You had the ones who were on top of the building, and they had the wonderful little signs that said, "Welcome aliens." And you know there's going to be some of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them.
The contactees. The ones that have contact with benevolent space brothers.
Certain types of star seeds or star child.
You know, I think that the ones who are going to be to have contact with them and have had abduction experiences and ongoing experiences,
right,
are probably going to be running into the hills because they already know that this is a definite.
So those to me aren't contactees. The contactees are the ones that, you know, and I got into this discussion actually with a Seattle group because I was actually trying to find when we were doing the FMP investigations with abductees, we were trying to figure out how to start a group therapy.
Right.
And I contacted this group and they said, well, we don't work with abductees, we work with contactees. Well, so for the listeners that might be new that don't know the difference, the contactees are the ones that they have a wonderful experience. They get abducted, but in their mind, these are wonderful aliens. These aliens mean no harm. They have great experiences. Now, I've also brought this up on the show. For some of them, not all, I think they have a variation of Stockholm Syndrome. And
yes,
that's where they get so comfortable with their abductor, they actually empathize with them, and they become...
Well, I think that's part of it, but you also have the fact that, okay, if I'm an alien, and I'm showing up, and I'm going to start talking with someone on a planet I just landed, I'm not going to say, by the way, we're here to steal all your mineral wealth, and we're going to kill all of you eventually. No, I'm going to say, hey, we're good guys. We'll help you out.
Right.
Trust me.
Well, you know, as long as I've been doing this, I mean, I have run into many channelers who channel and who are what they consider to be contactees and have had good experiences or felt religious experiences from seeing a UFO or some type of way.
Right.
But we have to remember that there are so many different lines of aliens that you're not dealing with all of them. So you're going to have some that are good.
Oh, absolutely.
And as we've talked about different alien species, we know there are some good ones out there. And we also know there's some terrible ones. I mean, you're not going to
like humans.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to, you're starting to deal with the manta ray or the reptilians or something like that. They're not going to be the friendly hooty-dooty people, and some of the Greys are definitely not. I mean, that's when we signed that treaty back in '54.
Right.
That was a big thing to say. Oh yeah, go ahead, abduct some of our people and do experiments on them.
I don't think they had a choice.
I don't think they had a choice either. But
if the Creator Treaty was real, I think they realized. I don't think we got sold out. I think they said, okay, they're going to do it anyway. We might as well get something out of it.
And that's possible. We don't know enough about the Greater Treaty to know all the details because it's pretty hush hush.
Yeah.
And the other part you got to look at is Joe hit it on the head too. Not all humans are bad. Not all humans are. We tend to lump all the races as all the races are bad, all the races are good, but races are like humans. You got good in the bad races, and you have the bad in the bad races.
Right.
There's good reptilians. There's bad reptilians. There's good Greys. There's bad Greys. We know this for
fact. Yeah.
For fact. But with abductees, to get back to the contactee versus abductee, the abductees are the ones that have a very traumatic experience. They're taken against their will. They've got traumatic medical, sometimes psychiatric experiments conducted on them. And, to them, it is a completely bad experience.
But don't they also get, through that, are they not being brought to the light of truth and knowing that everything that they've known in the world was a lie? And are they not also, don't most of them get gifts of some sort as far as...
No, wait a minute. Have you ever met an abductee that says, I had spina bifida and I couldn't walk and I was in a wheelchair all my life? The aliens abducted me and now I can go out and walk around. Well, have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
I haven't.
There's been cases where abductees had cancer, they were abducted, and they took the cancer away. There have been good experiences.
Knee problems, all kinds of different stuff. Back problems, all kinds of stuff has been healed.
There's been
as long as they keep sneaking around and taking people against their will, I don't want to sound like a racist or anything, but I'm going to group all the aliens into screw you guys category. Until they prove otherwise.
I'm actually right there with you, Joe. I don't care for aliens.
It's kind of generational. It's what happened to your family. It's been proven that it's generational.
Right.
I mean, if you had that in the closet grandma that no one talked about back a long time ago, that said, I saw little men and I saw this and I had this happen to me, and I saw UFOs, because nobody talked about it. Social conditioning. We were all made to think that if you mentioned it, you needed to go to the insane asylum.
And you just hit it on the head with Sherry's question, actually. How do you guys think the aliens choose people they decide to abduct? Most of it is generational. So,
yes, it is.
Not all, but most of your abductees you talk to, actually, if they had talked to the parents or the grandparents, they had been abducted as well.
Yes.
Now, with that, sometimes it does tend to skip a generation. So while the parents may not have been abducted, the grandparents have been. And then there's also
but as far as we're concerned, our grandparents, they were of a mind with the social constructs of the time. You don't talk about stuff like that.
No,
so a lot of it is like, we have no idea if our grandparents got abducted. They wouldn't say anything.
Yeah. There's always the stories, and there are stories about it because I've done a ton of research on it, and I've seen several different places. Plus, there's also a military factor. if your father or grandfather was in the military and doing something and doesn't remember a lot of stuff about his military career, chances are you're going to be abducted. You know, there are a lot of different things that seem to be happening.
Interesting, and Dennis is saying abductions seem to, on average, stop around age 50. So we actually approached this on a case here about 3 or 4 years ago where a Gray actually talked to one of our team, and whether this is true or not, I don't know, but there were 3 phases to the abduction. One phase was when they were young, one phase was when they were about middle age, and the third phase was when they hit around that the age of 50. And then they were done. Now,
after 50, we don't taste as good.
Right? We start getting tough. Now,
well, you know what? At my weird age and being my story of since 9 and through middle age and through teenage. After 9, nothing happened until I was about 19, 20. And then it was like all the time. And it did slow down in the 50s when I was in the 50s, but I still have the occasional thing, and I also can go outside and get the same things where it's like got to go outside. And I look up, and it's like, there they are. They wave at you or something. They flash you, you know, and they want you to know that they're still there.
Right.
And I've had experiences that are few and far between. But yeah, I still have experiences, even at the age of 65. Okay. You know? But they are different. They are not the same type that I had when I'm not hooked up to any milking machines at the age of 65.
Right.
Well, that you know of.
But I think that's a race-specific thing, too. I think some races, they have the 3-phase, 3-age bracket.
Right, exactly.
Abduction. Other races, they don't care how old you are. Now, if you've never been abducted before, the chance of you being abducted now is pretty slim. They don't just fly around and go, hey, this guy looks like he'd be interesting, and snatch you up. Now,
well,
the other caveat with some of the abductees is, say they go out and they get a new piercing. All of a sudden, that night, they're abducted because the aliens are going, what's that shiny thing in your ear or your belly button?
Right.
Or what's that colorful stuff on your arm because you got a new tattoo? You know, you do something strange, you're going to pique their interest.
Okay, we talked about, like, after 50, not very many people get abducted after 50. Well, how many people have children after the age of 50? I mean, like,
no,
if it,
true.
Is a case of the fact that, because
none that I know
for
of.
some of these races, there's a lot of people that say that they have been taken for breeding purposes. For hybrid programs, for things like this.
Right.
Well, then it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense to see them as a child to make sure that they are capable of holding the child and everything else once they reach age. That makes sense.
Well, there's another way of looking at that, though. Maybe they don't abduct people when they get older because, I mean, if they've been here for hundreds of years and been doing this for hundreds or even thousands of years, they realize when you abduct someone that's in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, they tend to have heart attacks and die because they're shocked. So maybe they just stick to the young ones because they can handle the shock of being abducted.
But I don't really think they care. I'll just throw that out there.
Well, I don't think they care about us. They care about, my experiment's fucked.
Right.
Well, you know, I think by the age of 50...
My cow just died.
You know, I think by that they have put you through every kind of emotional disturbance that they can possibly put you through, and they have they know how you're going to react to all the emotional things. You know, a lot of it is tied to emotions. They seem not to know pain. They don't feel any of that stuff. So when you give it, when you are that way, and maybe that's why I just deal with a lot of pain. I don't know.
Well, and I think that was part of the hybrid program to begin with, because some of the hybrids you see now actually have emotion. They were trying to develop emotion in their race, per se. Maybe.
Right.
Now, Sherry's got a question. How many missing person cases, especially young children or teens, do you believe are actually abductions? I don't think... I think that topic by itself, and it's going to be a show, is missing people. But I think there's too many variations. I think there's too many scenarios to where I think the number of people that come up missing from abductions is real low, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, man. There's a lot of people missing.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of people missing.
But
and I can see them abducting somebody and then going, oops.
Right.
And
you also have the races that abduct.
We can't bring them back.
No, but you have races,
that are abducting people for reasons for food, for other experiments, cloning, different types of things. And plus you have the ungodly thing that is going to be hearing more about, because when here in this world right now, we hear a lot, and that's part of the awakening, the Great Awakening they talk about and everything else. If you actually know and you get to understand some of the things that are going on, it's not only the bad satanic people, it's also the aliens that are doing it in concert with them and working with them. So when that all comes out, there's a disclosure that's also involved in that, because you're going to be seeing that, guess who's fighting as they're saving these people? We're fighting 12-foot tall lizard people.
Yeah, but how many people do you think are just chilling in a cage on a ship somewhere, and they're like, oh, these are free-range human, these are caged human?
That's been seen. Actually, we've had...
There's been
abductees that actually describe a vat of human parts on a craft.
Oh, yes.
There's a cartoon on late night on... There's a late-night cartoon that it's called The Human Zoo. And it's a bunch of humans, and they're on a zoo on another planet.
Right.
Yes, there are many people that have seen cages on bases on other planets and have seen things like that, been threatened by that, and hold that very dear and dear. And that's a fear of theirs. They're going to take me and I'll never be back, and we have that happens. I mean, there are people that go through that, and they have witnessed those type of things.
And
how often do you think okay, let's say the aliens did come down tomorrow.
Right.
They said, we're here, and we've been doing all this stuff all these years. How many people do you think, I'm sure there's some out there that would say, yes, experiment on me. I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly. Sign me up.
We'll get to that.
Then they wouldn't have to abduct
we'll get to them second hour, but real quick. So Sherry, with human trafficking, yes, it's $11 billion industry just in the United States alone. So it does happen. It's not. It's not all of the millions of missing kids and people. Personally, I follow more of the wormhole or interdimensional theory. I believe that's where a lot of your missing people go. I think Bigfoot might take a couple of them. I think there's a whole spectrum of situations going on, but the actual alien abduction, I don't think is taking a great number of those. And I know Dennis Cole's going to answer your questions.
Yes, Dennis asked what happens when we fart during an abduction. Well, Dennis, how do you think they came up with probing?
Trying to figure out where the fart comes from?
It's a cork.
Yes.
It's a cork.
What about the belly button Lindsay's talking about?
Well, if you want to look inside of a human body, it's only got a couple of orifices. You got to pick one, right?
You know what?
What are aliens impressions of belly button lint? Well,
you mentioned the belly button.
Yeah, but you know what? If I'm an alien, I see belly button lint, I'm thinking, wow, this race actually produces cloth.
Yeah, well, you know that when you talk about the belly button, you talk about all this stuff, even from the first the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill.
Right.
Yes.
Betty Hill describes a procedure that was done through her navel that to this day, I mean, before that was never known. And
amniocentesis.
Exactly. And then after that, it became a scientific fact, and they used it.
Commonplace.
That's right. So it was actually because of that abduction that actually happens. That's what we use now.
So
I wonder if Betty and Barney Hill were abducted as children, and they just never said anything.
Well,
they may not.
You know, half the abductees may not even know that they were abducted at that time. That's the hard part.
So do you think what Betty and Barney got placed in them were like tracking devices and to watch what they do and where they go and stuff?
Well, just like most of the abductees, just like I have, just like a bunch of them have. You know, there are different kinds of things that are put in your body.
I wonder. I wonder if the interracial factor comes up a lot of times when you're talking about the Betty and Barney Hill case, and it makes you wonder if the aliens even noticed that. If that
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did.
No.
I don't think at all. I mean, the human. See, that's the unique thing about aliens. It's a human being. You know.
Right.
It's nothing other than that to them. And they are looking at it's the same part. Skin doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's what's inside.
But skin apparently matters because they scoop skin.
Yeah, but okay, so if we see a reptilian, okay, are we going to notice that his spikes are 1/10 of an inch longer than this one's, and that's what makes the difference between male and female?
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Actually, and not to argue with you, but the color of the reptilian does matter. It's a class thing. So the red reptilian is a queen.
Yeah, but are we going to freak out about it?
Actually, some of us do.
I would not care if I saw a green alien with his arm around a gray alien. I wouldn't go, oh my God, that's ridiculous.
No, well, that's different. That's obviously different. But when you're actually fighting aliens,
that's just sick.
The color of the reptilian does make a difference because if you kill the queen, and we've done this before, then the rest of the reptilians will fall back.
No, most definitely. But I mean, like, we're not going to notice the subtle differences in one to another.
No.
So if you have two, let's say, drones, okay. Mm-hmm. It's just like when we look at a bee, we don't notice that this bee is slightly different than this bee or any of that kind of stuff. So I think it would be the same.
Yeah, are they going to notice?
Are
they going to notice that the wife has blonde hair and the husband has black hair?
No.
Are they going to care? No.
No. And Sherry, so
you never know. They might be a little racist.
Have medical doctors actually found alien implants or tracking devices? Yes, they have. There's a Dr. Lear that actually took them out, and they were tested with signal devices, electronic devices, and found to actually emit electronic frequencies. So, yes, it has been done. They have been found. They are actually probably in the Pentagon in a basement somewhere. But on that note, we do have to take our first break.
There's still an individual. There's an individual, Steve Colburn, who worked with Dr. Lear. And he is still out there, and he is into nanotechnology and also doing a lot of different things. And but he still is working on abductees and doing stuff. So that process still continues to this day.
I was hoping somebody had picked up his work because that's an important.
Yeah, he worked with Lear for 8 years, and Steve's a great guy, and he's out in California. So.
All right, we can continue that right after this break. We'll see you guys in 3 minutes.
Excellent.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
host, Eric Cooper.
And welcome back to S4 for our second hour tonight, and we are going to carry on, but we're going to switch it up, and we're going to talk about the social aspects. So, you step out of your house, and there's craft filling the skies. What's going to happen? So, I do believe, just like I said earlier in the show, Independence Day, you're going to have the group of people that are going to wave the signs, and oh my God, welcome Space Brothers. And then you're gonna. So where's the economic impact gonna come in? Because you're gonna have other groups of people that are gonna make bank runs, and they're gonna drain their bank accounts.
I'm sorry, if a whole bunch of alien spacecrafts just appeared in the sky over my head, I would probably walk out, go and piss myself. Okay, honestly, that would be my automatic reaction.
You know what? I'm glad you're in that group because that'd be me too. I'd be like going, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
You'd just be standing there so freaking stunned by the fact that this is there that I don't think anybody would move for a significant amount of time. They'd just be like, whoa.
I think that gives us new insight.
I'm getting my 308 out and I'm loading it up for when they land and they start invading.
I think that's just where I'm
at. Huh?
Kayla's not just an alien. She's an alien in hiding. And she would piss herself because they finally found her.
They're coming to bring her home.
Hilarious. Yeah. No, but seriously, okay, so think about like what an animal does when it sees a car and it sees car lights. Mm-hmm. It just straight up freezes. It stands there and goes,
you're in the headlights.
What the hell is this?
Okay.
Right.
Okay? Wouldn't we do the same thing if a craft came down and just hovered above us? We'd be like, what the hell is this? No.
Some people would. Absolutely. And then you got the ones that are going to have pure panic. There's going to be looting and chaos, especially in Seattle. Especially in Seattle. And everyone's going to see it as the end of the world. They're going to, and you got the smart ones that are going to grab their prepping bags they already got. We'll be talking about that in the third hour. What do you do? I treat this like any disaster. And we're going to talk about that in the third hour, is how do you prepare for it. And we'll be talking about weapons. Why? Because you're not going to run around. I think that's my problem. My reaction would be to grab my 308. But is it to shoot at the craft? No. Absolutely not. Because we don't know at that point in time if they're coming in peace or if they're coming, to invade. If they come to invade, you're pretty well screwed.
Yeah.
And, there's
wait for them to exit the craft.
Right.
And that is what
we're going to talk about weapons. Pointy sticks are great for close combat, but the 308 is great for reaching out and touching them from long distance.
Yes, but how would we know that our weapons would have any effect on them whatsoever?
They bleed.
Right, but I mean, depending on what kind of an exoskeleton or a suit or anything like this.
That's why you want a 308, because it's a 7.62 millimeter.
Don't sit around and think about it.
Nope.
Test it.
Your
Absolutely.
Your AR-15 is a 5.56. It's going to do some damage. Absolutely. You can kill them. Absolutely. But
it's a really fast 22.
Right. So honestly,
just remember.
I would stick with a 308 or something of that caliber. But I'm jumping the gun. That's the third hour.
Well, all we have to do is remember that it's going to take us a little target practice because we're going to have to find where their vital organs are.
Oh, that's what Cole and I are doing this summer. We're actually setting up a range.
Oh, there you go. Excellent.
We're setting up a range with some alien targets, and we're going to, of course, we don't know if the heart is where the groin is, but, in most things, the brain is always going to be in the head cavity.
Except if you're an octopus. But I am going to say that we shouldn't have any kind of alien targets up there. That's not nice, guys.
What?
I'm definitely...
Oh, you would be the one to say that. Uh-huh.
I am not going to the range. That's for sure.
You're right. You're going hunting.
So,
right?
So if you walk out and look up and see that many spaceships up in the sky, how do you know there's not already a bunch of them on the ground?
You don't. That's the thing.
You know. That's the thing.
And that's why, again, I don't want to jump the gun. Third hour is going to be how to prepare for it. But I'm going to grab my go bag. I'm going to grab the family. We're going to jump in the truck. We're heading up the mountain. I'm not going to head to the city because that's where the chaos is going to be. I'm going to stick, and that's why we live in the mountains. Well, kind of.
I'm already in the mountains.
Absolutely.
That's why when it happens, I plan on blowing the bridges to keep people like you from coming up to the mountain.
Okay, but the aliens can jump over that bridge.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm keeping you out.
So wait a minute.
Hey, who said we could come?
Right?
Well, you guys, yeah.
Yeah, but
there is a
go
time
the
lit.
bridge. It's going to take us 8 hours at least
There is
to
a
get to your
time
bunker.
limit.
It's okay. I'll just jump you over there, obviously. Okay. But
Get in a portal.
how do we know
I'll set up
that
a
the
portal
aliens
in the
could
bunker.
Jump over the bridge?
Huh?
How would we know that the aliens could jump over the bridge?
Haven't you watched what's the one with Charlie Sheen where they bend their knees backwards and
Signal?
they jump? Huh?
Signal.
Oh, yeah.
No, that
I'm
was
just fucking saying, guys. They came in a spaceship. They flew here.
right. They can just beam down over that bridge. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, but they might be electric and they have to recharge.
That's a great movie. I can't remember what I want to say Alien something or other, but yeah.
Is it Contact?
Contact.
No.
No, it wasn't Contact. That was
They didn't do anything in contact.
That was Jodie Foster, but
that was Jodie Foster.
it was something like that.
We just watched
The
this.
Contact. Jodie Foster was in Contact. Charlie Sheen was in The Contact.
No, that doesn't
With the
sound right
backwards
either.
need aliens?
What?
But I might be wrong.
What's the movie where they're egg-shaped craft and they actually communicated between a curtain and they drew
That
signals?
is The Contact. Or Contact.
That's-
It's one of those. And then there's Signal, and then there's Sign, and then there's... God, there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm. They're all great.
Can I talk about Signs for just a second?
Okay.
Really good movie. I really liked it.
Right.
You know, swing away. Love that line. The kids all sitting around with the tin foil on their head, and then
And the baseball
Joaquin
bat.
Phoenix had it on his. I love that. But here's my problem with it.
Okay.
The aliens melted if water got on them.
Right.
Why the hell would they land on a water planet?
Because they didn't plan
I'm just saying, Kayla doesn't like water.
Oh, God. Okay, so...
Oh.
Honestly, there's no...
Yeah, they're
reason
walking through the corn at night. Wouldn't there be dew, which is water on the corn? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't they
That's
get it all
true.
over themselves and be going, I'm dying? Why
That's a-
land there?
That's a movie glitch.
No, it isn't.
Movie glitch. Other than that, I love the
Didn't
movie.
Think about that.
Depending on the time of the year, there would be no dew on that corn.
It's an...
Well, it's M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, and he did a good movie.
It's still a good movie. You're probably right. And even if they did a crop circle, it doesn't mean they got any kind of moisture from inside the corn on them.
Yeah, but...
Like
They'd be in a
end
ship.
of July, there would be no moisture on that corn.
True. It'd be too hot.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of places that... Okay, so when, for instance, the very first people came and started settling in the Americas, okay, there were creatures here that people didn't know about, that ate them, that fucking were poisonous, that they didn't know, anything like that. So, I mean, you're not going to know about everything, but something as basic as water, and our planet is made of it,
Well, so are humans.
inhabitants of the planet are made of it. It seems like you would have sent at least like some kind of probe or something like we've done to Mars and gone, hey, you know, we can't live here.
Right.
Fuck you, Whitey. We were here.
Okay, not what I meant.
Oh, God. All right, so you got the people that they're not going to pay their bills. They're going to, and you hope to hell it's an actual invasion, because if you stop paying your bills and then all of a sudden they go away, you're kind of screwed. But they're going to pull all the money out. Now, I think where the businesses are going to close, and then, of course, you got the looters. The ones that are going to make it are the hunters and the preppers.
Yeah.
There's people
Quick
that,
point. Charlie Sheen was in The Arrival.
The Arrival, that's
what
it.
it was. Yes.
Yeah, because you have The Arrival and you have Arrival. Arrival is the one with the egg-shaped craft, and and I love that movie. I think that movie is closer to reality. I think what pissed me off the most was the ending where I'm not going to spoil it. No spoilers here. But yeah, I didn't like the ending of that movie. But
no,
the whole basis of the movie was those aliens used symbols to make communication, and I think that's more accurate. Now, do we think
we use symbols to communicate?
Yep. Yeah. Well, that
we call them letters and numbers.
Right. Absolutely. And we've been doing that since the beginning of time. Getting to aliens and are they really here, look at cave drawings. There's been cave drawings, there's been hieroglyphs, there's been, since the beginning of civilization, depicting UFOs, depicting aliens. You got all these people out there. There's no proof that there's quite a bit of proof that there's been aliens here, aliens seen, UFOs seen. Look around.
The thing I like about the cave drawings is that if you look at them, generally, they did some weird stuff, but generally they'd draw what they saw. They'd draw a horse. They'd draw a rhinoceros or a woolly mammoth or a hunting party chasing something.
Right.
And then they'd draw an alien. It was like, who is this one guy? Picasso? No, he's something he saw.
Right.
They'd draw it like, what was this? That was weird. I'm going to draw it on the cave wall here. Make a record of it.
So Sherry wants to know what our favorite alien movie that we believe actually depicts somewhat of the truth. You know what? I'm going to mention 3. 3 plus a bonus, because I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind was great. I think it was the first real disclosure. I believe, like I said, what's that one?
The Arrival.
Arrival. You need to watch that one. I liked Battleship. It sounds funny, but I liked Battleship because I think Battleship depicted, I think, aliens how they really not necessarily how they really are, but they depicted aliens. They had beards. They didn't have beards. They showed aliens like humans. You had aliens that had they were mechanics. You had aliens that were medics. It showed more reality to how aliens are really going to be. Maybe not physically, but yes, they are a culture invading another culture, and they all have their own position, basically. That's what I liked about Battleship the most.
See, me personally, I think the one that I would say that is closest to the truth would be like The Faculty.
You relate to that one, can't you? Aliens hidden in human bodies.
Well, either like that or more like a mimic or relic. Okay, something of that nature where it isn't necessarily like a full scale, we know they're here invading. It's going to be more like a Trojan horse or a sneak attack of some kind.
I gotta throw
snatchers.
I gotta throw this one in too. I liked it was corny, but it was cool. Cowboys versus aliens.
Yes,
loved it.
I love that one.
Loved it.
Yeah. What was your favorite?
I'd have to go with 2 movies.
Okay.
The Thing with Kurt Russell.
Okay.
That's what's going on down in the Antarctic, probably. We're digging up stuff we don't know what it is, and it messes with us. The original Aliens movie.
Okay.
Say we do get out there, we land on a planet,
Mars.
Chances are, if we run into alien life out there, it's not going to be friendly with a flower in its hand.
No,
it's going to kill us.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's why like in the first hour, is it really smart that we're sending a signal out? No, not really. If they haven't found us yet, which honestly, with all the TV, with all the satellites, we send signals out all the time, but we're sending out a directed signal, which is stupid.
We are bleeding signals out into space. If there's anybody around, they can hear us. It's like
absolutely.
A great big neon sign that says, "Come to Earth." We're idiots.
Yep.
Right. Arnold, what's your favorite movie?
I'd have to go with Close Encounters. The movie's there.
Everybody loves that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we know UFO researchers that are just like, and I can't remember who the actor was.
I don't know actors.
The one that built the potato mountain.
Oh,
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We have UFO researchers just as addicted to ufology as Richard Dreyfuss was in that movie. I mean,
hey, you get something in your head and you don't know what it means, and you have to try to figure it out.
Yep.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people that have witnessed something. It's just like to go on another subject. People that have seen Bigfoot in the woods.
J-Ron likes
up until that point, their life was normal, and every day after that, they're thinking about it.
Right.
They're trying to figure it out. They're wondering what they saw.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with UFOs. You think UFOs aren't real, and then you see something float over your house, and you know it's not something that the United States military has. You're going to be thinking about that every day for the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
That's true.
And J-Ron said he likes They Live in the chat room.
Mine doesn't have an alien in it.
Oh, what's yours?
UFO.
I want those glasses.
UFO. That's the name of it?
It was a small independent film about the Chicago UFOs at the airport.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that has the biggest realism for what we would do.
What did they do?
For anyone who saw immediately kind of freaked out in the airport. The guys who did see it first, the FBI tried to keep them out and tell them that is what you saw.
That's reality.
Oh yeah,
that honestly is reality.
Then, of course, Scully came in and saved the day.
Well, because think about it. How many times have you seen? And we see it in videos where there's a UFO in the sky. Nobody knows what it is. It could be Mars. It could be Venus. It could be a planet. It could be atmospheric. But how many times have you seen in videos where cars will pull over and freak out, taking pictures of it, and then think about and then think about 100 of them.
Yeah, and the thing is, that was the thing. It was just too big for the government to actually cover up.
Right.
And they eventually just had to say, yes, that is what it was.
Oh, good one, Jim.
One of my favorites is the one up in Alaska. I believe it was a Japan Airlines flight. There was 3 pilots.
Oh, yeah.
Cargo flight. It was a 747.
They
saw it. They saw it for hours. There was 2 small ones. There was 1 huge one. And Anchorage Airport was picking it up on their radar. And when they contacted Elmendorf Air Force Base was also picking it up on radar. And as soon as they landed, the government guys come in, confiscated all the tapes, told everyone to shut the hell up, and people said, screw you, we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
And you got to give that pilot big credit, because he put his career on the line. He had thousands of hours in the air. Yeah, and he said, look, this is what I saw.
Mm-hmm. And
you gotta love stuff like that.
So actually, J-Ron, so the Battle of 1942 Los Angeles actually is a movie. It's called The Battle of L.A., and that's another good movie.
Wow.
Yeah. There's actually another one that was coming out. Yep. There was another one that was coming out, and it was going to be more about the actual Battle of L.A.
Okay.
I don't know if it ever came out. I know that the producer was looking for money at it at the time, and we talked with him about it a while back. But that would have been a great movie. You know, the truth of the Battle of L.A. is fantastic if it ever gets out there. I mean, for what people see it as. I also, I've got to throw in The Fourth Kind.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
That is a...
Owls!
Huh?
Owls, man.
Yep.
If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. You know it. I mean, it's like going, whoa.
So how do we think religion's going to be impacted? Do you think religion would be? Because, I mean, the Pope came out, a couple years ago and actually said if aliens were real, which he believes they are, that they would convert them to Christianity or to Catholicism.
Of course they would.
Well, yeah.
Of course they would. They want to convert everybody. They don't care.
Right. So, being as the Pope came out and said he believes aliens exist, and when we actually find them, do you think religion would be impacted?
No.
I think that there are going to be people that have put trust in religious beliefs that do not understand total religion and what religion is. And because they have gone to these fake things, you have to remember that everything has been changed and altered for their own purposes, for the purpose of man, since 312 AD with the Council of Nicaea. Look at the Catholic Church right now. They're falling apart. We've got the dark Pope in there now, who's seen the Pope lately?
From today.
I watched him today.
Yeah, I watched him today on Fox.
Wasn't it a wonderful hologram?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. Everything that they can do right now and what they can do is amazing as far as CGI, all the other stuff. And I just think that, there are some difficulties with religion. And there are people that have followed religion and certain beliefs so heavily and so hard that, yes, there'll be a problem with religion because I don't think they understand the true religion.
Well, I think part of it is some of it will be because of religion, but some of it is just like you said. People have a belief. Their belief is there are no aliens. Right. It doesn't matter whether they're religious or the guy's a banker that doesn't believe in God, or if he's a hippie that believes in moonstones. If he doesn't believe in aliens, all of a sudden they go, "You're wrong. There are." Yeah. It's going to freak some people out. So there's definitely going to be some people that are going to lose their cookies.
So real quick, Sherry says, nope, aliens don't care about that. Now, I'm not talking about the aliens. I'm talking about the human action to aliens coming down.
Right.
So I do believe that you're going to have a portion of the planet that as soon as aliens show up, they're going to go to their church.
Exactly.
Because they want answers. Yeah. I believe you're going to have the other, a little portion of them that are going to say, nope, they're not real, those are demons.
Oh, yeah, the demons.
Yeah, well, there's some people that actually do think aliens are demons.
Yep.
And the other ones, they're not going to give a damn about the religion side. They're going to head for the hills.
Yep.
That's why I'm blowing the bridges.
I gotta say, on the religious aspect, I think faith transcends. So I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people that don't believe in what they still believe in, because just because there's another creature doesn't mean that whatever creator you believe in isn't your creator.
Right.
So adding another creature to it isn't going to matter because of the fact that when we found the first platypus, when we saw a bear, when we saw gorillas, something like that, it didn't change our religious views and our thoughts on our own creation. Now, if they came down and they had said, hey, we're this, we created you, showed us all the schematics on creation, everything else, there's still going to be people that don't believe them and that will say,
they're going to call them false prophets, you're part of Lucifer, because only
God
created us.
It isn't even that. It would be the fact that this is your beliefs. So the whole purpose of a belief is the fact that you don't get to know the answers. You either believe it or you don't.
I honestly think a lot of religion has been so watered down. You have so many watered down Christians, Catholics, pagans. It doesn't really matter what your belief is, but I think a lot of it's so watered down just by the way the world's going. I don't know. I think you're going to have a lot of people that... I don't think religion's going to play a part. I think religion...
No, I don't either. Like you said, the Pope already come out and said, well, if they're aliens, no problem.
Right.
You know, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be a religious problem. I think it's going to be just I don't believe problem.
Right.
You know, there's people that alien can walk up and stand in front of them, and they'll still go, nope, don't believe it. Nope. Mm-hmm. It's a hoax.
I would go.
And
like,
that has
with my,
nothing to do with someone's religion.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but-
going to be whatever that person thinks.
Yeah, like growing up with my grandma and grandpa, they would probably, if they saw anything, they'd say demon. I mean, for the where they were raised, because, and the reason I do that is, I couldn't even open a deck of cards around it because they thought the devil would come.
Our you know my parents, so
yes,
yeah, they'd be the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, my grandma and grandpa would have seen an alien like that. They would have been demon. I mean, I don't know how many times as a young kid I'd be trying to play solitary on the floor of the house, and I'd see one coming over, and I'd have to throw them under the couch or hide my deck of cards somewhere.
Right.
I mean, they were just that type of people. I don't think it'd like go to the whole religion thing. I think it's going to be based on the person or people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are people around the world that think that other people around the world are demons.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
True. Very true. So
I've been called the White Devil several times in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, we won't even go down that. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're a witch! Burn them, burn them. Gun sales. I think gun sales would spike.
I don't think people would be selling them. I think people would be stealing them. When it came down to that, I don't think any sales would spike. I think there'd be a lot of theft.
Right, but I think the thing is, people are going to do a bank run. They're going to pull all the money out of the banks as soon as they first see. So we're not talking about the invasion yet. As soon as you start seeing a flotilla of alien craft coming into our atmosphere, I think you're going to see a bank run, and then before it gets to the looting point, you are going to see a gun run.
I think you'd see automatic looting. I don't think it would get to the point
like you were
where there would be a bank run. I think it
you were talking earlier about movies.
Right.
One of my favorite scenes from any movie is in with Will Smith. God, what was the movie? It's Alien Invasion. What was it? Come on, help me out here.
Independence Day.
That was
Independence Day. Will Smith is standing there and he's looking out the window at the giant ship over Los Angeles, and you hear the TV in the background, and the broadcaster is saying the police are asking the Angelinos to stop shooting at the alien aircraft.
Yeah.
I love that. That's what would happen.
I could see that happening.
People are be out there winging bullets off at it.
And I'm going to tell you
You're not going to be able to stop them.
What's not realistic, I think of a lot of our military were in on leave like they were. You're going to see a lot of military not reporting to base. You're going to see a lot of military saying, "Screw that! I'm taking care of my family. We're heading for the hills."
Well, that's like when Hurricane Katrina hit. A whole lot of people didn't show up for work.
Nope.
A lot of the police didn't show up. They said, "Screw it! I got to help my family. I got to get out of here."
Yeah.
And that was just a hurricane.
And honestly, as dedicated as our military is to the country, absolutely.
Yep.
It comes to a terrorist action. It comes to a deployment. Yes, they're going to go. They're going to report. They're going to ship out. It comes to an alien invasion, and it comes to their family.
To you.
No.
Well,
right.
It's all going to be up to you. No one is going to come and help you.
Nope.
If anyone from the U.S.
yourself.
military is listening, my name's Cole Wigleitner. Come get me if this happens. I'll get in a jet, no problem. Let's go. Friend, I'm ready.
I gotta tell you, like, the very first thing that I would do, I wouldn't worry about money. I wouldn't worry about any of that. I'd go to the closest pharmacy and get a stockpile of my pills.
Well, that's third hour.
I gotta be honest.
That's part of the third hour. What do we need to stock up on before this happens?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Part 2 of that whole U.S. government.
Alcohol for barter.
Right.
If you're listening,
And
I
that's
know
the
what
thing.
we've
I
said
mean,
in
I
the
wouldn't go
past.
for money either, because what's money? Money won't mean anything.
Money doesn't mean anything. All that
I know.
paper stuff, it's going to mean nothing.
Nothing.
Nope.
I know what we've said in the
Nothing.
past.
You better
about
have
looting.
gold, silver, or little pieces of rock that are very attractive to be able to.
Or things to trade. You're going to need alcohol. You're going to need
cigarettes,
ammo,
you're gonna need ammo.
cigarettes. food.
That's
These
third
things
hour.
are all things you could barter for other things.
That's
extra guns or extra food, anything.
So,
you're going to barter for stuff.
To the military, if you're listening, if you give me the jet, I'm not just going to take it and come back home. Don't worry about that. I promise.
No, we don't want a jet. That's Air Force. We want an Apache.
Mm-hmm.
That's Army.
Yeah.
Dude, at that point, I'm taking a jet.
If I have
over
the
to
jet,
But if you
I
think
can
about
get
it,
the Apache.
if the aliens show up, they're going to use an EMP, and none of that electronic stuff like Apaches or that, none of that stuff's going to fly.
Exactly. It's
In
not
fact,
going
You're going to want
it's
a
gonna
sailboat.
drop out of the
You're going to want a
sky.
sailboat to get out of the harbor and over to an island somewhere.
Yeah. And honestly, if it came to an invasion, if we start seeing a flotilla, their greatest attack on us won't be little ships coming out. It might be, but it's probably going to be an EMP. That's an electromagnetic pulse that is going to send out a shock wave. It's going to drain every battery, so your car's not going to run. Your flashlight batteries are gone. Your best bet is, and we'll talk about this in the third hour, is a Faraday cage for all
Pointy
these kind of
sticks.
devices.
Yeah.
Pointy
one of
sticks.
the things that
Your guns are still going to fire. Your generator's still going to work because it's not on a battery. But then you have to worry about the risk of running out of fuel. With a generator.
that's another thing, because that's going to be...
That's why we
you're
have
gonna
coal
stock-
and a bicycle.
Right,
Yep.
you're going to have to stock up on all of that stuff. But eventually, depending on how long this goes for, everything's going to dry up. And then you're going to have survival skills to be able to know, hey, you're going to be breaking into people's houses that are not there or already dead. You're going to be going up there and tapping into their water line and taking a nail and driving through it to get drinking water, because there's going to be some inside of that still left over, in the piping. So there's going to be a lot of different things going on.
Well, that's why we're getting solar
You know, I'm
power
sitting
on
here
our
jumping
well.
up and down screaming Mad Max. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. I
Oh, you were doing that
It's
last
gonna
year. What
happen.
are you talking about?
Almost every show you have, I go to that.
Because Mad Max actually happened in 2021, I believe, didn't it?
2021.
Yep.
Yes, it did.
So, yeah. You were talking about Mad Max last year. So,
Okay,
Just
so
getting
what
ready.
happens if it's a different type of invasion? What happens if they come down and instead of it being like a fleet of ships and they just start shooting us or taking over or whatever, what happens if they come down and they just straight up overthrow our government and say, hey, we're in charge now, either do this?
well, that's why you're in the mountains.
That happened 3 months ago.
Right, exactly. Well, look at the situation that we have. Let's not forget about false flags.
Yeah.
So they use Project Bluebeam, and they are now putting out holograms, and there actually are aircraft firing on our buildings, but they're morphed behind a hologram of a, let's say,
Alien ship.
an alien ship. That's going to make everybody think, oh my God, we're under alien attack.
So I don't really, honestly, follow the false flag alien invasion. Personally.
No one's going to believe it.
Nobody's going to believe it, but I mean that's the problem. That's why that's been talked about for all
Right.
the false flag. It has been talked about since 2003, and
Yeah.
it's that stuff, and it's even, you're hearing it more and more now coming back out. With all the stuff that's been going on here and there with our country and throughout the world.
I honestly think something's coming. I believe that because if you look at all the puzzle pieces that have come out, why do we need a Space Force? We've talked about that before. But
Right.
it still makes you wonder if there's alternative motive with having a Space Force. I think of Starship Troopers.
No.
I don't see anything like that. But, why is the Pentagon just now releasing, 10,000 files? Why are they now, last year coming out saying, "Yep, we have a crashed off-world craft"? Why now?
Well, it's kind of like the problem that we have is like, unfortunately,
because people are fed up.
People are fed up. Also, you've got to wake up the people who have been asleep and have been under a different rule of something that's been going on. So what's the best thing that you can do to be able to snap people's heads out? Is to be able to bomb them with truth. And they are going to all go, that's not true, until it becomes, oh, I just saw that walking down the street. That's true. By gosh. Or that's when they start seeing it and they actually get it. If nobody reports it, nobody else tells anything about it, and they follow an agenda that keeps you quiet and moused out, then, what's the best way to go against that? The truth.
And, we talked about that a couple weeks ago in the fact that only 10% of UFO sightings, I wouldn't even say 10%, I'd say 1% of UFO sightings are actually reported to an agency, such as MUFON, such as MUFORC.
Exactly.
Yes. I know none of my 5 sightings have ever been reported because, well, there's no need to. FMP handle our own reports. But
I've never reported any of mine.
No. So you're talking 1% of the population that's actually seen something has actually reported it to an official agency, which shows you that the actual number of people that have seen things in the sky is way in the hell higher than we even know.
Yeah, and the bad thing about it is when I reported something or I put a picture up or something and it's been seen, and even though it was verified by 2 different sources and everything else, people still ate it apart and called it geese or whatever they think that they're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
And then what happens? I don't want to report another UFO. I mean, for me personally, that's what I do. I help these people and try to understand what they're talking about and help them along to help them understand what they've seen.
Right.
And
it's got to be tough for someone like you, Barry. You're with MUFON. You want people to tell their stories, but there are people out there like me who, for decades, have heard people tell their stories.
Yeah.
And whether it's true or not, they get jumped on. They're called liars.
Exactly.
And it just becomes a huge thing, and it's not worth it. It's like, are you trying to convince the other people? No, I don't care what the other people think. I know what I think.
Right.
And it's not my job to wake up everybody else because I don't have enough proof. I know what I saw. And I think, honestly, reporting something like that, it's not going to help me any.
No.
It's just going to cause me grief.
Well, 10 years ago, the one that said they were abducted by aliens or even saw a UFO were ridiculed to the point that they didn't want to report it anyway. By society.
Exactly. And one of the great things about it is there was a great documentary made by James Fox, and there was 2 of them, in fact, and I think they were both named I Know What I Saw.
Right.
And
I've seen that.
The thing that is incredible. That's what every witness says to you. We have to also make sure that we're going to try to find out as much as we can to be able to know the full story and to be able to know what that story is and make sure that they understand it. And when you start questioning people and they throw it back at you like, look, I know what I saw.
Right.
You can dang well bet they're telling you a pretty good truth of what they saw. Even though you can go, wow, I've never heard of that before, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
You got someone like me, I'm a trained observer. It was my job for many years as a geologist to be able to explain in words exactly what I'm looking at so that somebody else reads my report and they know exactly what I was looking at. I know how to describe what I've seen and make it make sense. And when someone comes up and says, well, that's not what you saw, it must have been something else. Like, no, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Well,
I know what I saw.
The thing is, most of us in this field actually know what planets are out. There's enough apps out there that can tell you what aircraft is around, whether it's 747, a military craft.
Flight Radar 24 is great. I use it all the time.
Right.
It is
absolutely. Great. So there's enough technology out there for the common citizen, whether they know it or not, to know whether that light in the sky is a meteor, a planet. If there's no clouds in the sky, the chance of it being something atmospheric, you have to check the humidity levels. You have to check the, help me out here.
Well, the weirdest thing about it is you have to check so many different things, but the problem we have is that people just look, those apps and everything else are great for us who are trying to discover what it is and how it is and where it is in the sky, make sure it's nothing that is out there. But the other people that are out there, which is 70% of the people, already have their own minds made up. They look up, they see something incredible, and the first thing they're going to say, that's a plane, that's military, forget it.
Right.
And they never do anything more because they are stuck in their own reality. That's they've made their own reality around everything, and that's what's wrong.
I don't think it's 70%.
That's the same person. No,
I honestly
Barry's
think
right.
It's less than that.
Barry's right, though. It's like those same people that could look at a UFO and go, it's an airplane or it's a bird. Mm-hmm. It's the same person that'll have an alien standing in front of them and say, no, that's a guy in a suit.
Suit, exactly.
But see, I disagree with that. I think the number is lower than that. Because I think a good portion of the population knows what an airplane looks like. They know what, if it doesn't look...
Have you ever looked at YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
All the
time. There are 1,000 UFO videos of an airplane.
Yeah. Or a blimp, or something else like that,
Or a balloon.
Or else there's thousands out there of somebody who wants to fake something.
Well, yeah.
And those are the people that
people love faking stuff.
Never be able to do it, and never be able to go on YouTube again. But no,
until they get a new account.
They're going to ban the people who have truth. Mm-hmm. So that's just the way that it is. I mean, we're not.
Well, you can't go on that banning on YouTube because even the presidents get banned from YouTube.
Right, everybody's getting banned.
Everyone gets banned from YouTube.
Yeah, I'm banned from YouTube. So
hallelujah.
And Facebook.
Yeah, it's just fun. So but look, guys, you also have to remember that, here we are talking about what happens if there's a disaster and it is UFOs. But one of the federal firefighting manual put out by FEMA, the firefighters FEMA, and there is a UFO.
Dad had a copy. My dad was a fireman. He had a copy of that, and I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, and chapter
the fire
13,
department's response?
Yes, in Chapter 13.
Yep,
it is
I've
put out by FEMA. Chapter 13 is all about what to do with UFOs.
Yep, I've got a copy of that book.
And when it originally came out,
in 1970, wasn't it?
It was been out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, in the 1970s it came out with, So, why would the fire department need to know how to respond to a UFO if there wasn't some kind of verification for that?
Right.
But UFO
because you
is
spray
anything.
them with water. You haven't been listening, Eric.
Okay, but a UFO stands for anything that's unidentified. So if a farmer is out in a field,
but they specify extraterrestrial craft in that book.
Yes, they do specify.
It's not just the unidentified blimp that fell down. No, they say extraterrestrial craft in the book.
And they even reference the great Los Angeles air raid of February 28th.
Well, it makes you wonder, since there was a FEMA back document, if they actually base that because of the responses to, say, Roswell, or if you have a bunch of fire in a field from a crashed, unidentified extraterrestrial craft, and the fire department goes and sprays fire on it, and it's actually a Class D fire because it's, well, I don't know, some unknown mineral for Earth.
No, I think you're getting way too technical on that. It's this simple. If people spot a fiery object falling to the Earth, they're going to call 911. What happens when you call 911? There's going to be one police cruiser and probably 3 fire trucks are going to drive out there to see what's going on.
Right.
They're the first on scene, the first responders. Those are the guys that need to know. They're not going to be worried about whether they're going to spray water on a radioactive craft or something.
But
it's because those are the people that are going to show up first.
Absolutely. But I used to be with the fire department, which is why I go a little bit deeper. Because you have classes of fires. So the fire department needs to know, okay, so that craft is probably metal, which means your Class A, your water's not going to put that out. It's got to be a Class D, which most of your fire departments do not carry.
But as to your question before...
Yeah, but the whole point of them having that stuff there is they know what to respond to. Once you're dealing with the fire, the government and the people putting out that directive in the book are saying, look, don't call the radio station, don't call the TV stations, don't get on your radios and say it over the air about, seeing little aliens running around. They're telling them, sit tight, call the military, run away, make a perimeter.
So that's the difference between seeing a light flying across the sky versus seeing a light crash into a field, though.
You ever try to squirt water at a light flying across the sky?
Well, the really weird thing about it is it's not about in the whole chapter 13 is really not about squirting water on it or anything.
Yeah, it's about first responders.
Yeah,
they're the guys that are going to be there first.
Right? It's so amazing because it talks about enemy attack and UFO potential.
Right.
And, it talks about radiation. It talks about all kinds of different types of stuff. It talks about blackouts. It talks about EMF. It talks about all of that stuff. And this official proclamation of UFOs in the Firefighter Manual is actually something that is seen by, you got to think about it. It's taken by some official position of the government, which includes FEMA, and also how it got started.
What is FEMA? What do they stand for?
FEMA Emergency or Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do they need to exist tomorrow?
Who, FEMA? Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Yeah.
There's always natural disasters.
But there might not be.
Well, you have to understand that also that this
the fact that they have that in
about
there.
this.
Voyager 1 was launched in 1977. Mm-hmm. What did we put on Voyager 1? The golden disc.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything. Did we send it out there just
They put Chuck Berry on it.
But did we put it out there just for the rocks? Or the dust? No, we put it out there in case there was someone else out there. Mm-hmm. If we're putting it out there that there is a possibility, and that is a government agency putting that out there, that there is a possibility that there is extraterrestrial life out there, why wouldn't we have an emergency plan for them?
Well, we have to.
Exactly. So it makes sense that was included in the 70s.
But you know what's funny? If I go down to Grassmere Fire Department and bring that up, I'd be laughed out of the fire department.
Absolutely.
Because they haven't looked.
It's in their book.
It's in their manual. It's in their book.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I'll tell you, when it comes to this, the thing you're talking about in the fire department manual, I didn't read that on the internet.
I was out in the barn looking at my dad's books when they had a whole bunch of, there's a big library out there. And I'm looking through them one day, just like, wow, this is all interesting. And I ran across that.
Right.
And I asked him about it. I said, Dad, get out here. What is this? And he looks at it and he goes, well, they just prepare for everything. You never know. That was his answer.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was a captain. He was, he was in a huge fire department down in Southern California. Mm-hmm. And he goes, yeah, it's no big deal. They just plan for everything. You never know.
That book came out in the 70s, right?
It's just like the Pentagon. I'm sure they have war scenarios that come out every once in a while. Someone will say, oh, look, they have a scenario here where North Korea attacks us. It's like, well, yeah, of course they do. They have a scenario for everything.
Yeah.
I think I brought this up last week. They probably have a scenario if the squirrels go attack us.
Well, the CDC...
If the squirrels become sentient.
I think what's cool, too, is the CDC actually put out a zombie attack.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Yeah,
I've got the poster. The
CDC
awesome.
has it, even though they think,
they're all Boy Scouts. Prepare for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Prepare for everything, then you're not going to be surprised.
Well, because if they didn't, whose fault would it be? Theirs.
Yep.
Yeah, if it did.
How many lawsuits would they have?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Arnold, did you ever see anything like that in the Washington State Parks Department?
There's got to be something in the Forest Service manuals. There's got to be something in there. I heard that laugh. He's not going to tell us now.
Oh, yeah, he is.
No, it was interesting because we'd have to update certain things on occasions and stuff. And this book was thicker each time we did it on certain things happening. Not so much, I don't think I ever saw something about like UFOs and stuff, but other things that probably would have come pretty close.
Zombie?
No, just doing with other issues happening, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but because when I first read them and was going through the book, I was like, what? I've never seen that happen, or when would that, but yeah.
Well,
Were there scenarios about people disappearing and what to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was things about different type of explosions and devices and different things. I mean, that I'm like, I hadn't heard of and stuff before.
Right.
And stuff, it just, you had to read into it. If you just went through it quickly and went, okay, I read some of it, but you went back like you had to do usually with each new employee that you hired and say, hey, you have to go through this book and read this area. Yeah, it was kind of like...
Was there anything in there about, say, a Forest Service employee in the forest, and they run across something mechanical or whatever that's odd, that's out in the woods, to how to deal with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? There you go.
You had your steps. And that's why a lot of things got so quiet. You had to, if you found something like that, I'm going to go back to a park that I was just at. There was a sinkhole forming in the ground. And it was weird. The hole kept getting bigger. So the state parks came out and said, hey, let's dig into it and see what it is. Well, it was like a little building made of railroad ties. That the railroad ties had started to rot. And then all of a sudden they're like, stop digging, stop it. And no one ever touched it.
Huh.
And it kind of got quiet. It's just stuff like that. I mean, I'm like...
Yeah, you have to have scenarios for something weird happens. Who do you contact? Basically keep the public away. Things like that,
Right.
Yep.
Don't broadcast it over the radios.
Yep. Because what happens is stuff happened like that. You call up and, okay, you tell your boss tells the next boss up in region to Olympia, and then you didn't deal with it anymore.
First responders. You guys are the first responders.
Exactly.
And that's when the Parks Department got shut down. Or that specific park area got shut down.
Yeah.
And it is time for our last break of the night. When we come back, how do you prepare for this?
All right, we will be right back. Here's Hell Wildfire.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
And welcome back to S4 for our last hour. And this last hour, we are going to talk how do you actually prepare for an alien invasion. And so Izzy is saying, yes, the FEMA's main job is to show up late and ill-prepared and make excuses. And you're absolutely right, Izzy. We all know that. I know, yeah, Hurricane Katrina was a perfect freaking example of FEMA's lack of a response.
They're also property brokers.
Yeah, they own property here in Cape Horn. But yes, I do believe FEMA is just a Band-Aid, and they prepare, quote unquote, for any kind of disaster, aliens included.
Bandage. Band-Aids work.
Okay,
They're
Band-Aids.
a dollar store bandage.
Yes, a bandage. And that kind of goes.
Band-Aids are racist.
What? How are Band-Aids racist?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on the news today that Band-Aids are racist because they're all flesh colored, and that flesh color doesn't match everybody's flesh color.
Yeah. Okay.
I just saw something that said math is racist, so I think we're going too far with that.
Got you beat. I saw that sheet music is racist. I swear to God, Oxford University came out with that. Look it up. I'm not lying, man. Oxford University declared that sheet music is racist. Yeah, I don't get it. None of it makes sense anymore.
No one has anything to say about that.
I hear crickets because we're all at a loss of words on that one. But
exactly.
Anyway, so I would treat an alien invasion or a UFO invasion seen in the sky as any disaster, and we preach this here in our own community all the time. Preparedness. So the last hour here is how do you prepare for an alien invasion? Well, first of all, you have to have a plan.
Always. I have a plan.
So with your plan, it's called EAP, Emergency Action Plan. It applies to alien invasion or a volcano or an earthquake or a flood. It doesn't matter. Know where your family's going to go. Make sure you have a bug out bag.
Oh, my plan's different for this.
What?
My plan's different for this.
Is it?
I have a very comfortable pillow.
Okay, what's your plan?
I have a very comfortable pillow.
Okay.
That I will lay on the ground before me so I can kneel down and say, welcome. What shall I do?
Oh, you're the guy on the skyscraper with the sign saying, welcome aliens, aren't you?
Oh, no.
He's going to be the first person to sell us out.
So that I don't get shot.
Okay. So yes, you have an emergency action plan, and that applies to whether you're being flooded. Usually, you have a heads up whether you're going to be flooded or not around here, anyway. We don't have a response for, or not a response. We don't have a heads up if an earthquake's going to hit. Obviously, of course, they're working on that as well. But same thing with an alien invasion. We don't know when it's going to come. The government ain't going to tell you. That's for damn sure. As Cole's looking at Kayla. Yeah, well, Kayla doesn't know when the aliens are coming either. They don't tell her.
Well, what do they consider? What do they consider an alien invasion? Is it just them showing up, or is it them showing up and blowing up the cities?
I would say just them showing up, because you don't know if they're coming in peace or if they're coming to actually invade.
Yeah, but that's not an alien invasion. Until they come and actually take over.
Here's the thing: I see a bunch of crap.
Christopher Columbus didn't show up and just start killing people.
Yes, he fucking did.
It took some time.
Well, it all depends on what you're dealing with.
Not that first guy.
You have to be prepared for everything, because what about a force field impact into a major city?
Yep. But here's
if they wanted to mess with us, they wouldn't.
That is disclosure in the largest way. Have a weird craft blow up and land and take out 3 city blocks.
Right.
But if aliens really want to mess us up, they're not going to land.
No,
they're going to sit up there in orbit, and they're going to drop asteroids. They're going to drop big rocks on us.
Yeah. They're going to drop an EMP. They're going to drop an EMP.
They'll do it. Yeah, they're not going to land it and run around with ray guns like in Mars Attacks.
I don't even think they're going to actually drop an EMP.
No?
No, I honestly believe that they'll just sit up there. That is enough to cause mass panic, which will destroy ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be able to get to them.
No.
Even with your 308, you're not going to be able to get to them.
No, 308 won't.
We'll just end up destroying ourselves.
But the Space Force will.
Oh, God.
Hey, well, you know the weird thing about it is if you start looking at this, and even though you're talking about FEMA's whatever it is, and I'm talking about this UFO book, in that they're talking about it's about a plan, and they have they talk such things about EMF, blackouts. Right. What happens? There's even warnings in here about don't stand underneath the UFO that's hovering close to the ground. Don't do this. There's going to be psychological effects. Mm-hmm. Panic hazards. They have thought of everything imaginable when you have this. Personal hazards, psychological. Because they have the ability to be able to have a physical effect that can, observing a UFO. I mean, it's been documented in how many abduction cases, warnings. I mean, never approach a UFO that can be harmful to a human being. Do not stand under a hovering UAV at low altitudes. Do not touch or attempt to touch that has landed.
Right.
That makes perfect sense for something you don't know what it is.
Yeah, the safe thing is to get away from it and very quickly. And, let the military take over. There are possible radiation dangers. There are other unknown cases.
And we've seen that documented in UFO cases where they landed craft and they came up and they actually had, I can't remember the exact case. I'm trying to remember, but the guy actually had radiation burns. Carla Turner,
it was up in Canada, and the guy had a pattern of burns.
Yeah.
They were like small welts all across his chest.
He was a policeman.
From what he described as an exhaust port.
Right.
And when they checked him, he was covered in radiation.
Yeah, covered. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are listed in this, and it's all common sense in a lot of ways, but it is a plan. It is the plan because obviously they know some stuff about it. And when you start talking about the other deep side of it is look what Congress did, back with the H.R. 2977. Even though it didn't go anywhere, it's documented. They were talking about it, and they released it. And DARPA and the DOD 86 that program. And if you get the opportunity to pull that up and start reading some of the terrible things about what they're talking about.
Right.
In that, it is scary. They're talking about terms of weapons and weapon systems, and all of the above. So it's quite, from air-based to land-based, sea-based, space-based, and electromagnetic, trictonic, all kinds of sonic lasers. Just, crazy that can be beamed towards persons and target the population. I mean, it is crazy. And this you're not going to have your Congress talking about stuff that, low frequency, ultra low frequency weapons systems, plasma, sonic,
ELF.
Teutonic, laser weapon systems, strategic, theater, tactical. And then they have the things about the extraterrestrial weapons and chemicals, biologicals, environment, climate, and
that's the thing. You have an unknown craft that comes down. You don't know what kind of biological hazards are going to come with it.
Right.
Just like them drilling in Antarctica, drilling into the ice sheets. You don't know what kind of microbiology is coming out of that. You actually have an off-world craft landed in the field. You don't know what kind of hazard that's bringing. Whether, we call it CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear explosion.
Right.
So it's no different. You treat it as a hazard until you know otherwise.
Exactly.
So when you're talking about having a plan, you need to your family needs to train on this plan all the time. And this applies whether, living up here, we have volcanoes, we have landslides, we have 5 dams, we have earthquake hazards, we have, and so this plan applies to any of them. And I would put UFOs into that. And that's having, out-of-state contact. If your family gets separated, you call, in my case, I call Aunt Patty in Idaho. Now, does she see the UFO too? Possibly. We don't know. Because if you have, UFOs coming down, looking at the invasion side of it, are they invading? We don't know. There's just a whole bunch of craft circling the Earth. So you need to have the outside contact to call so you can all check in. That goes with a common plan.
Like you just said, though, we don't necessarily know, like say you're sitting where you are, I'm sitting where I am, or Barry's where he is, or Arnold's out in the woods. Something unknown comes down. You don't know if it's an alien craft or if it's something from China or Russia. I mean, humans have a great ability. Humans have an innate ability to kill other humans with unknown things. And it's basically, they have a plan for everything because, okay, here's something unknown. Number one, what do? Don't go near it. Number two, get away from it. Mm-hmm. And then they go through all the scenarios of what it might be. We don't know. We don't know if it's from...
Don't shoot at it.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm not going to shoot at it until I know
it's there.
I might
maybe after a couple hours you can shoot at it. Don't shoot at it until someone comes out.
Right? So then we got to talk bug in or bug out. Are you going to stay in your house or are you going to head for the hills?
I'm already in the hills.
Oh, yeah, us too. So if it comes over my house, I'm probably going to get the hell out of my house. If it's just flying by, I'm probably going to stay in the house, keep an eye on it, and listen to the radio until I'm told, oh my God, they're invading.
Do you have a bug out spot?
Yep.
Like I said, if an alien craft is hovering over your house and you get everybody in the truck and you get going down the road, do you know where everyone's going?
I know where I'm going.
We're not going down the road.
Nope.
No.
Cole knows where they would. Yep. Cole and Kelly know where they're going.
Cool.
And again, it depends on, depends on the scenario. Well, hell, you're coming.
I have a huge bug out bag, but it's for fire.
Like, okay, yeah.
Which is prevalent around here.
It depends on the scenario, because if it's like Cascadia subduction zone, we ain't going fucking nowhere. Let's be honest. We ain't getting anywhere.
No, if it's Cascadia subduction zone, I would head up there and then up. So at least you're up higher elevation, and then you head up towards Haystack.
You wouldn't get in your vehicle.
You wouldn't get in your vehicle.
You'd already be dead by that point. And I mean no offense to that, but that's just like the
Our
scenarios.
5 dams are not made to withstand a 9.0 anymore.
No, I know.
See,
that's why you go up.
No.
You don't have that time.
Yeah. To me, creating the situation of an alien invasion would be the same as us having contingency plans to go under the desk and hold our heads if the atomic bomb was going to drop on us. Like,
when I was in school, we used to do that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Duck and cover.
I believe that is the same scenario as far as
get away from a window. If you're near a window, get underneath the table and then cover your head up. Or if you can get to some place that was lined in lead, you're the happiest person in the world.
Built little tiny wood
I can remember when I was in 4th grade. When I was in 4th grade, we had the duck and cover drills where they'd sound the siren and you duck under your desk. I'd say, why are we doing this? They'd say, well, because, those darn Ruskies and their atomic bombs, they might blow up the military bases. I'd say, the military base is across the street from us.
Oh,
it's literally across the street, less than 50 yards away is the military base. What is ducking under my desk going to help?
Oh yeah, well that's the amazing thing that when you look at when they talked about
Are you my mom?
what the government is talking about when they talk about a nuclear blast or anything like that. We always assume that there's going to be first areas, and they have a map. You can go look at the map, and it's going to tell you that these areas are going to get hit by, are they going to be the first that would be hit by a nuclear blast.
Oh, and one of those targets is about 30 miles to the south of us, actually, on the Russian map.
But you know what this is what they say, and this is what's amazing to me because most people don't think about it. We only think about, well, there's going to be one big bomb dropped. Mm-hmm. Well, they've got all the people are targeted. The top things there is 500 missiles that are already lined up and targeted, and the second wave is 2,500. So there's nothing going to be alive. You know, I mean,
there's nowhere to run.
There's no place to run unless you have, unless you're an elitist and you're underground and you can live for 2 to 5 years until everything blows over and it changes a little bit, and where you might be able to stick your head up and be able to tell what's going on. But you know, it's just strange, and this is where it gets so odd, and that's why I bring up all this old stuff like the FEMA Firefighters Manual, and I bring up HR 2977 because it was originally used to outlaw things that we would be doing in the stratosphere, and the biggest thing about it is, to me, is that in this document, the government is not talking about things that may be. They are talking about things that we already have, where they wouldn't be trying to outlaw them. I mean, and try to say you can't use these, you know. And, you know, when you're talking about laser systems and all that stuff, and you can look back at some of these things that are coming out right now, you know, even, I mean, how many people have heard about the med beds? I've mentioned it a lot. Yeah. Well, what is a med bed? Okay. It's the same thing. It's technology that has been hidden from us for so damn long that has been used all the time. We had the Nashville bombing here. What the hell was that? Was that a Teutonic weapon?
We didn't hear the true story on that.
Right, exactly. You know, so
you saw the video where the van was down the street, but the initial explosion was a lot closer to the camera.
Exactly. You know, and there are so many different things, but you know, and they actually term exotic weapons, which include designing to damage space or the natural ecosystem, such as the ionosphere, the upper atmosphere, climate, weather, tectonic systems, and the purpose of including danger or destruction upon a targeted population of a region of Earth or in space. So, I mean, that's kind of like saying, well, I guess we already had that shit, and now they're just trying to say, well, we don't want to use that against our own people, do we?
Yeah, but
that kind of hit a point with what you just said about targeted population. That kind of hit a sore spot with me because I grew up living in a big red zone. I had the Point Mugu Naval Air Station on one side of me, and the Camarillo Air Force Interceptor Base on the other. And whenever they talked about, well, this is the places they're going to target, we were dead center.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's it. But it's funny that they tried to they tried to put a law against it, and it was the form was changed and everything else, and the DoD and DARPA 86'd it. I mean, said no way, we've got a problem with this. This is against national security.
But when you
think about the countries, going to try to kill each other and things, and they say, well, this doesn't exist and that doesn't exist. How come back in, I think it was like 1973, at the height of the Cold War, the United States and Russia agreed not to use weather weapons on each other and signed a treaty on it. Now, if they didn't have those things, why would they be doing a treaty at the height of the Cold War?
Right, exactly. It's just
because there's things out there that we don't even know about that'll mess us up.
And that was back in the 50s. Badly. But you got to remember, too, we actually targeted our own civilizations. The CIA did it on, I can't remember the cities, but they actually dropped germ warfare.
St. Louis was one of them. St. Louis was one. You know, and, I mean, there has been so many, if you go back and look at the terrible things that the government has done to humanity since the 1900s, it will frost your hair. I mean, you'll be upset as hell. But nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to believe that. Nobody wants to, because why? You've been you've been led down the path of, everything's warm and fuzzy, you know?
So here's what's interesting, too. Homeland Security has recently, in the last year, started looking more at EMPs.
Yes, heavily.
So let's talk about EMPs. What do you do to prepare for an EMP? Let's talk about Faraday cages.
Mm-hmm.
How do you create a Faraday cage?
Wood and metal.
No wood.
Yes, exactly.
No, it'll go right through wood.
It's got to be
you have to have a.
It's got to be metal.
Has to be a metal fencing.
What you want to concentrate on is your
copper.
batteries. You want to cover your batteries. Don't touch the posts.
Copper
obviously.
mesh.
You want to make a metal box, basically, and it goes over your batteries. That's a Faraday cage, folks. So, what do you want to? I mean, are you going to put a metal box over your car battery? Personally, I won't.
I ain't worried about that as long as it's new.
Well, it's not your car battery. You have an EMP is going to mess up your car's CPU.
Right.
Because all the modern cars have electronic computers in them, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what's.
I got my '73 Ford sitting out here. It's not going to be affected other than the battery.
Right, exactly. And where I'm at right now with my vehicle, the CPU and the EPU are burnt out of my vehicle because of
black-eyed children
coming across and being targeted by EMF.
Mm.
You know, and I mean, freaky things happen. You got to go outside, and you got to. For me to work my car, I cannot. I have to disconnect the negative side of the battery every time I stop the damn thing, or it's going to drain battery. I won't be able to start it. It won't have enough power to start anything. It will just all drain out.
Right.
You know, so, and I do that every day. And people go, why don't you just replace that? Well, does anybody have an idea what that costs?
Right. Yeah. So I suggest you take some AA and AAA batteries, put them in a metal box.
Right.
That way you have battery, you have your flashlights, you have your headlamps, things of that nature. If you have a generator, you should be good because most of your generators are not battery operated. But the thing you have to worry about with generators is making sure you have enough fuel. Your fuel's only going to last so long, obviously.
Yeah, that's the problem, your fuel. And that's where you go.
Big thing with an EMP, it's going to take out the power grid.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to restore your power for, depending on the prognosis is the wrong word, but their estimates can be up to a year or longer, depending on how fast they can get the power grid back up. But there's so many companies, little tiny companies. Our power grid's not run by one or two companies, it's run by like over 100.
Right, but unfortunately, they're all hooked together, and if one part of the power grid goes out, it's going to affect a massive amount of an area.
Absolutely.
You know, and then you have
to each of those to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one thing we're going to work on probably this year is trying to get our well on solar.
Yeah.
And we'll put the solar battery in a
there's
cage.
And there's a problem with solar now. Because of the fact that I don't know if you've been following the news over in Sweden and everything else, but Bill Gates has been putting together a thing to actually do atmospheric conditions that would bring back create a thing in space that would actually cover and lessen sunlight, which will affect plants, which will affect everything, and actually could cause depopulation for an experiment. And Sweden just basically put a poo-poo to that and said, there's no way we're going to do that. And it was all done by the people who are actually reindeer herders. That we can't do that. It's going to affect all that. So, I mean, Santa Claus saved the day in Sweden, I guess. So. But, I mean,
it's all the stuff that's out there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on that leads us in this direction of like going, there's a lot of evil things that are happening. And if there's all, and they're not being talked about, they're not being seen, but, you know, what is going to, you have to be prepared for everything. You know, buy a survival guide on what to do when all of a sudden, you know, look, batteries and all this stuff is, and food. Look, you know, you could hear this emergency stuff for a week or 2 weeks or for 2 months. But if the power grid goes down and all the other stuff happen, it is going to be years, folks, years. And once all your batteries are gone and once everything else is gone, then you're going to have to either huddle around just like Mad Max in certain areas, and you're going to have to worry about the people who are going to be out there taking your stuff. You're going to be defending your life. You're going to be defending all this stuff. And you better have some serious survival guidance, know how to give first aid, know how to take care of yourself, have the right bandages, worry about your medication that you need, all this stuff. Because,
and that's, honestly, that's where training comes in. So know your plants. Yes. Know which plants are medicinal. Know which plants are edible.
Exactly.
You know, it's not preparedness. And, you know, it's not hard. It really ain't. There's all kinds of. I suggest you go online and download the Army Survival Guide. It's huge. It's got color pictures of which plants are edible. I mean, it goes into everything.
I have 4 kids. Yeah. By the time it gets to me, I'll know which one is edible.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're talking preparedness, FEMA recommends, and I don't agree with them because they always recommend a 3-day supply. I recommend, actually they've changed it to 2 weeks.
2 weeks
but you want at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. I would expand that. Because the human body needs, you're going to die without water before you're going to die without food. You can go 2 weeks without food, uncomfortably, obviously. But 3 days, I believe it is, without water.
Well, the biggest part about it is that you also have to think about you're not going to be able to be where you're storing all this stuff. I mean, how do you carry around that much water? Because chances are you're going to be displaced from where you're at. You can hide it. You can do whatever you need in a cave system or whatever. But eventually...
That's why when you look at your bug out location, you want to make sure there's a water source nearby.
That's exactly right. And you have to make sure that you have the things to be able to purify your water.
Yep. Well, honestly, basic purification, you can boil it for 3 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's basic.
As long as you're lighter.
It's not going to kill all the bacteria, but a good majority of it will.
Right. Exactly.
So,
but you still have to have.
My favorite is actually hydrochloride tabs. And they taste like iodine. They taste nasty, but
that's it.
They're effective.
They're very effective.
Well, see, that's the thing, guys, is that nobody really thinks about the fact that for thousands and thousands of years, people lived without this stuff.
Yep.
It is possible to live without this stuff.
Absolutely.
It is possible to have a full-out civilization without this stuff.
But I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest killer isn't lack of water. It's not lack of food. It's actually fear.
Fear.
Panic.
Exactly.
Panic is what kills most people.
And other people that are panicking and going after you.
Yep. If they know you're prepared, they're going to come for your stuff, and that's where security comes in.
That's right.
And I'm sorry, as much as people love their guns, your bullets, even if you're making your own bullets, aren't going to last forever. And that's where you need to learn other tactics.
Yep.
You got so many people that they stash 50 guns. You can only shoot one gun at a time. Okay, I understand having a long gun and a pistol for backup. I get that.
Right.
But you can only shoot one gun at a time, and you're going to run out of bullets eventually.
Yeah, and the thing that you may want to save your bullets for is something to eat.
Right.
When COVID first started, and everyone went into a little bit of a panic, and me included. People were talking about buying guns, and a lot of people did buy guns.
Mm-hmm.
My wife included. I didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I bought
here in
broadhead
Kentucky,
arrows.
they were worried about toilet paper for some reason.
I bought broadhead arrows.
Yeah, you did.
Because I can reuse those.
Yep.
Right.
You got arrows and
But
all kinds of stuff.
the smartest thing you can do, learn how to fight with a knife.
Yes. And learn how to use a leaf to wipe your
that,
ass.
The elk one.
Huh?
Tried that, the elk
Just
one.
don't pick skunk cabbage.
So, you know, and you know, we have crossbows. We have so you're right on, Dennis. You can always use your arrow as long as you can recover it. But you're going to run out of bullets eventually, even if you're reloading your own. You know, stocking up on bullets is not a bad thing for the beginning, but eventually you're not going to have those.
Yeah.
Learn how to snare.
If I lose a broadhead, so be it. Pointy stick works great.
Yeah.
You can make arrows.
You can make pointy sticks.
It's going to be a long time before I run out of trees.
Nope.
And don't forget fishing hooks and line.
Oh, I got plenty
because
of that.
it's
Absolutely
amazing. You know,
We
that's
got magnets.
Huh? We have magnets.
Yeah.
Just going to go to the lake and get them from the bottom.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know,
Or
okay,
if you-
so there's something there that, if all of this stuff were to happen, if an EMP were to happen, if everything went out, okay, the most important thing that you can have on you, honestly, is something to light that fire.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, that we're getting.
That's right. That's
Because
it.
that is your
You gotta-
life source.
Yep.
That is your biggest
Yeah,
life
if you're
source
going to
is the
be
heat of
able
that
to
fire.
exactly.
So
It
when we were
keeps
talking
you
about
doesn't-
when we're talking bug out bags, your main things you need to have on you is a heat source, whether it's a flint and steel, whether it's steel wool and a magnifying battery.
EMP, man,
9-volt battery.
battery's not going to work.
Okay, flint and steel,
Yeah.
magnifying glass and sunlight. I mean, there's
Or Ohio blue tips. Strike anywhere.
5,000 lighters I bought in the last year.
right?
Yeah,
Lighters will
that's
work.
important.
But you want your heat source, your fire source, you want your weapons, and know how to make a shelter. Shelters really ain't that hard. You don't need a tent.
Right.
You can put sticks to tie them together, put some fir branches over it, and moss for a bed. You got yourself a shelter. But you will die from hypothermia if you don't know how to make fire.
And always remember, don't throw away old lighters.
Nope.
Just because they ran out of fuel doesn't mean they're no good anymore. They still have a flint inside them.
So that's the main
exactly
thing you need to remember with your bug out bag, because you can find food in the woods. But the last thing you need to focus on heavily is your medical. Take a basic first aid kit course. You can pay $20 at most of your fire departments if they even charge you.
Screw that. Take the advanced first aid course because,
No, I agree.
Get the baby version too. Everyone should do that. You shouldn't. That's not just a be prepared thing. Friggin'. There is no person in this world that has never been around a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Have your first aid. Know what to do.
Stopping your bleeding. So go with your ABCs: airway, breathing, circulation. CPR changes so much. Most of the time, I think anymore, all they focus on is compressions.
Yeah.
So they don't even go with airway anymore. As far as the breathing side, don't go by my word. You look at the American Red Cross and see what the new standard is. But make sure you get a CPR course, get your CPR and your first aid card. You want to stock up on bandages, different types, 2x2s, 4x4s, tape, Curlix, which is stretchable bandage. I would look at Quick Clot. I know for a while they were saying Quick Clot was bad because it's kind of like putting, it clogs your arteries. It can. But, if you're in an emergency situation, use Quick Clot.
Super glue.
Glue
Have
works
your
too.
glue in there.
Know how to put on a tourniquet.
And honestly, in your bag too, in your survival bag, everybody should have at least one pot. Some form of
pot's good.
Pot. Like no,
animals.
Yeah, like
oil.
No, really, because like even if you were to find food in a can, even if you were to find
good point.
Something
Can
outside,
opener.
anything like that, you still need something to cook it over and something to cook it with. And there are certain things that it's just going to be way easier.
So on my bag, I actually have a tin cup, and it's got a D-ring clip, and it just clips right on. Yeah, I can boil water.
It can be as simple as just boiling water in it. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier than trying to fashion yourself one out of clay or a rock. I mean, you can do these things, but it's going to be a lot easier if you just have one with you.
And good point. It says pepper works in a pinch as a quick clot, and absolutely, it's going to burn for a while, but it will stop the bleeding.
Sulfur also does really good.
Yep.
Or anything that's hot that you cauterize anything with. But, we talked about can openers and everything else, and you being in the military.
Swiss Army knife, man. Just throw that in there. It's got everything in it.
Yep. Yeah, you're thinking of a P-38, Barry?
That's it, exactly. P-38.
Yep. A P-38 is in fact, every C-Rat actually came with an automatic P-38. And right. It's a very basic can opener. You can actually find them in any Army surplus store for like 50 cents.
Yeah,
they're cheap.
Tons of them.
They're cheap and effective.
Yeah, very effective.
And honestly, do not underestimate anybody's ability to survive anything. Okay? Once people actually have that and they are in that survival mode, you would be surprised at what people are capable of doing that you would never thought that person was capable of doing.
Oh, absolutely. So bottom line, folks, and we've given you a lot of good information, but never panic. You always want to keep a level head, stay calm, and know your plan. Have a plan. If you need more information
Unless it's like a big asteroid that you can see that's bigger than the sun, okay, panic. Fine. Like, seriously? In that one, include pot in your bug-out bag.
Right? Well, you might actually find pot in the mountains.
If you're going to go out going happy.
But so when you're thinking long term, think of seeds. I would throw seeds in your longer term plan as well.
Yeah,
pot seeds definitely. Yep. Oh, and our show that listens to us every week loves this week's show because that's stoned paranormal.
I'm just saying.
Kind of gotten a long ways from alien invasion to planting seeds.
Yep.
Well, it's going to be a long time, folks. That's one of the things you got to have to remember because if you do survive it long enough, you're going to have to figure out somebody.
I think
if the firefighters are quick enough with the water hoses, this could be over in a week.
If it's an EMP,
there you go.
But Barry, if it's an EMP from an alien invasion or a terrorist attack, it's the same effect. You're not going to have any power for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so honestly, if these aliens didn't really care about the planet, like if their goal was to actually come here and like shoot us with some crazy ass laser and fry us all to death, something like that, hey, couldn't they just honestly?
It would have.
Like, can't they just drop a nuke in Yellowstone? I mean,
well, no, but wouldn't they have done that already?
Nature, it would have already been done.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be afraid.
Yeah, they would have done it a long time ago.
The thing is,
well, they're just doing it slowly now with 411. They're just going out in the woods and picking us off one by one.
Right.
So that's just farming.
The thing is, we say that, but how many new races that we don't know about could still be coming this way?
That's exactly right. We don't know.
The other thing.
Yeah. And there could.
We've heard rumors from that, but from other people.
One of them's got to be a dick. Like, one of them's got to be an asshole. There's no way that every alien race out there is either good or bad. One of them's just a dick. So that's the one that's pushing the asteroid towards us.
Mm-hmm. They're behind
just
it.
giving it a nudge.
They're behind it.
Yeah. And just to see what happens.
Right? Yeah, let's test this theory out.
Yeah, we're the ants.
Let's throw this rock towards that little blue planet down there.
Friggin'.
So what do we got going on Into the Fire this week, Barry?
Well, that's an excellent question, and thank you for that. Now, this week we have a wonderful guest. We're going to be talking to the owner of the McDonald Airbnb up in Attica, Indiana. And we're going to be talking about what's been going on with that, some of her new projects that she's working with other buildings that she may be purchasing. And also we're going to be talking about an event that Night Stalkers Paranormal is going to be throwing up there. We've done it annually there for a while, and we're looking forward to going back in April 23rd and 24th. We're going to be talking about that event and hopefully marketing that a little bit. So we're all excited about heading to Indiana to see some of our old friends that we've seen in the past. So that's what we're going to be doing the show on. And the week after, we have Katie Turner and Richard Rowland, mediums and psychic, and talking about paranormal.
Excellent. So next week we are having What is a Paranormal Emergency and How do you protect yourself? And Arnold, is your son coming on next week?
Should be. We'll be over there, so we'll be in a motel room, and he should be with me.
Perfect.
That would be awesome.
Excellent. So we can hear a lot more about what's going on in Eastern Washington that he's dealing with, and how to protect himself, and what are the paranormal dangers.
And one of the things interesting about the paranormal dangers, has anybody realized or noticed that they seem to be getting more frequent?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, my son will tell you that.
Well, yeah. And it's amazing how many teams that are out there that don't recognize that.
Yeah, they don't see it.
Don't use protection, and we're going to grab Billy and Bob over here, and we're going to go out ghost busting, and then we're going to scream when we actually pick something up.
Right.
And run. And trip on the way out, and, well, there's your paranormal danger. But, yeah.
Well, we've had some paranormal dangers here lately that have been where people are either too open to things, so many different things, and we'll definitely talk about that and try to prepare them for what to do in those kind of cases, because, wow.
Yep.
It's happening more and more.
You can walk out with an attachment, or you can walk into black mold. You just don't know what you're
going to get into.
Yep.
Exactly.
So we'll discuss that next week, along with Arnold's son. I don't remember his name.
Daniel.
Daniel. So yeah.
Excellent.
So what are we all doing this week?
Earlier on the last break, I walked into the house, and I heard somebody walking across the porch.
Well,
I don't know if that's a paranormal danger, but there was something walking along the porch when I was inside.
Did you have your pointing stick ready?
Absolutely.
There you go. And so, for those of you that run out of bullets when the big disaster hits, remember, pointy sticks never fail you. And if one breaks, you've got 11 billion more to pick out of the woods.
Yes, you do.
You just sharpen them.
Yes, exactly. And dip them in holy water. They work great on vampires.
You got anything more to add? Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter.
What do you mean?
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show because
another Easter next year.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And
you made that sound like we're not having a show till next year.
No.
Friend.
And again, happy birthday, Tim.
Yeah.
Yes.
You had a great day. And on that note, stay safe, everyone. Good night. And remember, keep your eyes to the skies because you never know when they're going to come down.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on S4, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. You can contact S4 through our website at www.s-4radio.com. or on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like on our page and join the Forest Moon Paranormal group. If you are interested in advertising, take a look at our packages and contact Cole or Eric at 1-360-999-2830. Again, thank you. And remember, keep your eyes to the sky.